All right, we're back. Hopefully,
Are we?
yes. Hopefully, it's not going to lag as much
I
this
mean, you
time.
should check the internet to see if it was better.
I mean,
Do anything to make sure it wouldn't lag.
unless I close everything, but like I said, this hasn't been a problem before. But I mean, let's just continue going. Is this the one that we're on now?
I don't know.
Because that's it.
It says part 2, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, it is lagging. I don't know if it's that much of a. Hang on, let me try closing some windows in here.
What?
Huh?
Oh,
Back.
like there are no windows.
No, not the window. You got anything safe here, do you, Mike?
No. Damn. That's when I ordered this.
All right. Hopefully.
It's not awesome stuff.
All right. Hopefully it's not lagging as much. I mean, there is going to be a delay regardless, but does it look like it's clipping at all?
Yeah, it is. Well, not clipping, but it's delayed.
I mean, this is a delay.
Yeah, there's a 3-second delay.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Well, we'll do our best at this point. I mean, I don't know what else to do about that, but like we were saying before, we are talking about Aaron Taylor Johnson's character. I did enjoy that one. It was a fake out for you to think that he was going to be the main character, and it wasn't. It's actually Spike's story. And I did like the fake out that they kind of did also, where he seems like a really good, attentive, kind father. And then that takes a turn as soon as they get back from their little excursion, their trip. So, continuing on with the rest of the movie when they finally go out there. So, we find that there are some new types of infected.
Do you know what the fuck the first one's called? Is it slow lore? I don't understand it.
Slow. Oh yeah, his weird Irish accent.
Slow floor.
Slow mo.
I don't know what the fuck he's saying.
Slow.
But yeah, the slow ones that just like rip their flesh away, crawling on the ground, and only eat the bugs and insects and everything.
Yeah, what's up with them? Why are they all bald and fat and slimy?
It's gross.
Why do they look like giant babies? Like this is one thing that I was kind of hoping wouldn't happen. A lot of these zombie movies, when they start progressing, they start bringing out these variants or like, and you know what? They have something here called an alpha. We were discussing before, which is a slightly more intelligent infected that can clearly command other infected, and they're bigger, they're stronger, they're not as stupid, and they will hunt you down. If they get a lock on you, they're not going to let go of that. And also, we find out later they do something else, but like that makes sense to me. To the point where, in the way that, like, okay, let's say the virus did evolve. Let's say it, like we were talking like last week about the possibility of it incubating inside of someone that was immune, and then they pass it on, and then it just keeps evolving from there. But I feel like it is possible that one, the virus can change so that they're not expelling so much fluid and stuff anymore. Because notice, I don't think any of them vomited, right, in this one. Like none of them like projectile vomited.
Yeah, they
did. Did they?
They did the soldiers.
Oh, but that's when they first get it. Any other infected after that, they didn't do that.
Oh well, I think you just when you get infected, that's just puke.
Yeah.
I know, like the whole vomiting thing is because like it's literally
Ebola.
Ebola.
And they were also crying blood out of the eyes and all that other shit. But like,
I mean, their eyes were still
bloodshot, but
all the capillaries.
I feel like in this one, they don't expel as much fluid, and also for some reason the virus evolved so that they learn to just eat things and sustain themselves to the lowest degree. But they will kill something like a deer. They find a deer that got torn apart, and clearly it's from the infected, and they're actually eating it.
I feel like the alpha has to like kind of guide them to eat. Like the alpha completely decimated that deer, and then they all like fed on.
Oh yeah, that's right, because he rips the head off of the deer first. But yeah, you get introduced like the alpha, the slow ones, but the slow ones don't make sense to me.
I mean, but in real life, things will degrade, upgrade. I mean, look how many times the fucking COVID strain mutated. In how many months we had 47 different COVIDs.
True. But at the same time,
It's just
too,
what
like-
viruses and shit do.
and but the thing is with
No,
this virus in
but-
particular, like it doesn't seem like it allows you. I mean, granted, you may be able to sustain yourself like some of the lower infected, and it also doesn't even make sense for the alpha because the alphas are huge compared to the regular infected. And how do they get the alphas? Make a little more sense that they eat the deer, right? So that's a lot of protein and shit like
Well,
that.
no, he says that the virus hits some of them like steroids.
Yeah, but and like I said, but you needed a lot of energy to maintain that mass and all that other shit. You know what I mean?
I mean,
So, but he's eating deer and stuff. But
also, yeah.
the fat ones that are on the ground, they're just eating bugs, and maybe the occasional like because there's a point where Spike gets caught sleeping and one of them almost rolls up on him. But
they
maybe
don't ever stand up, right?
No,
They do.
They do.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't make sense.
So maybe like they find wounded prey and they'll feed on
Like
that
scavengers,
Because
but-
like we didn't get too much into them. Like there was only like
there was 2 instances, I think.
there was only like 2 instances. Where
But
we saw
at the
them.
same time, it's like you, and I understand that this movie, a lot of this movie is world building. They're showing you what this world is like right now in the current state of the 28 Days Later universe.
Yeah.
And then obviously they already have another movie lined up. So that I'm hoping is a lot of the payoff for some of the questions I have in this one. Like number one, the first one I had was how the fuck did those fat fuckers like exist? Because it takes, and I think I finally saw that website that Dylan was talking about last time was one of the memos about them
Might be.
where he was just
I-
like it
I
takes a
didn't
ton.
go through all of it. I
There was
just,
a memo that said like, oh, there's a variant, but it looks like it would take a lot of food and energy to maintain that mass. And I think they were talking about the slow ones.
they might be talking about the alpha.
They might be also, but I think there was something mentioning that they would like crawl on the ground or something.
Okay.
And but it's true. Like for someone to be that fat, they can't just live off of just like the bugs and maybe the occasional like maybe leftovers from the other infected and stuff. You know what I mean? And unless I don't know, they don't explain anything in that regard, and that kind of frustrated me a little bit. So that was just kind of like one mark off for me. And don't get me wrong, that they were cool to look at, and it provided some action moments, especially since one of those ends up being Spike's first kill.
Yeah.
And what I also liked about it was the demeanor in which Aaron Taylor Johnson's character was. He was just like, he seemed okay with everything that was happening because the thing made a noise and then the other ones like activated and started trying to run them down, and he just took them out like Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And he was just laughing about it afterwards. I'm like, that's how used they are of this world, and it's kind of fucked up.
They've survived in it for 28 years.
Yeah, and and they established
Completely isolated.
Yeah, and they established that he was doing expeditions before this, like to gather food and scavenge and shit like that. And obviously, and I like once again Spike, great actor. He pretty much reacted the way any kid would. He's fucking freaking out. Like he's just like, what the fuck? Like, and his dad's just so like casual about all this. The only time that he does it, he stops and just kind of like, okay, we get to get the fuck out of here. Is when they find the leavings of the alpha in his pack. Because, like we said before, he predators his prey. Anything that he's about to kill, he just rips.
Before all that, they found a house.
Oh yeah, that's
Body.
right. That's right. That's right. And this raises more questions because they find the body that's dangled from the ceiling, and a name is carved on the chest, and obviously this person has already turned. And I think Aaron Taylor Johnson was trying to use this as a point to teach Spike that there's other people out there and that they will do fucked up things.
Yeah.
But there is a name written on it that's going to come up again. And actually, we skipped the beginning, but it says Jimmy on the chest. And the only time we're introduced to anyone named Jimmy in this is in the very beginning where they do that cold open, like this is what happened in the beginning of the infection thing, or
Why
where
did we skip
I don't know.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Oh, you talk about it.
All right, so the intro, which I think is still pretty on point with the rest of the movie. So there's one thing I do have an issue with the movie. Unfortunately, it does like work. I just don't like that they did it, and like they use pop music for a lot of these sequences, and it's not like horror music, and it's not like thriller, and it's like pulsating. It's like So you have your intro, and it's a bunch of kids watching the Teletubbies, and it's right at the start of the infection. I believe it's in like the Highlands of Scotland, right? Is it the Highlands of Scotland? And this house gets completely overrun by the infected, and a bunch of kids are in the house, and they get attacked, and everyone's yelling to this one kid to get out. His name's Jimmy, and he runs out, and he makes it to the church where his father is at. And yes, it's his actual father. I know it's their fathers, but he does say dad to him a couple of times. And he's like asking for help and help and help. And the dad's like, nah, this is it. Like, this is the apocalypse. And he's like fucking excited and shit for some reason. And he just kind of gives the cross to his son. And he's like, hold on to this. He'll protect you. And the son like goes and hides. And he's like, God, why have you forsaken me? Yeah,
it shouldn't be funny, but it's a little funny.
The dad gets taken out and like turns, and the whole time they're just playing this like crazy atmosphere, like happy, like
because you know what, it's that
gospel
whole,
pop music.
It's that whole kind of like dichotomy or the juxtaposition of the two things that are happening. And usually, here's the thing too, and a lot of these like especially zombie sequels, you get these kind of outrageous characters that like the dad he's kind of, I'm going to say he's overacting a little bit. He's very over the top with how his character is, because he's just like, pray. He's literally like yelling, like, praise God. Yeah. Like, the time is here, my children come, like all that shit. And what you call it. And I thought it was cool because as the intro is going, you're getting like, it's not even that what's really, it's the way they're cutting it and intertwining it with all these like random things and stuff. And like, the erratic cuts, the crazy jump cuts of like old war stuff.
Well, that didn't start until after the whole intro.
I mean, I guess the point I'm making is that the way that they cut it, your anxiety keeps going up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, also, you don't know if this kid's an important character now, so you don't know if he's about to get murked, like at all, at any point. So like, you could just be following him until he dies, and then you can do the intro to the rest of the movie. But he does make it out. But the thing is, it's like, they never hit back on that again either with that kid, and you don't know if that's just a cold open just to show you where they're at and then do the intro, or if that kid's going to come back like in every other movie that's happened so far. Because mind you, I skipped that part because you don't get it mentioned anymore after that until a certain point, like at the very, very, very end, and we will get to that. But it's Spike's story the entire time after that. And there was no like relation to any of those people in that house or anything like that. Although that church, that wasn't the same church, right? No, it's a different, okay. Because there's a point where they go to another church. The dude was like,
what? Huh? In this movie?
What, in this movie?
What do you want to go to a church?
What you call it? When she's taking the mom and they said, we're going to go stay there the night. That was a church.
That shit was a castle.
Was it? I thought it was a church.
That shit was a castle.
Are you sure?
I think that was a castle.
I thought it was the church. I thought it was just because they were like in close proximity to the area.
You could be onto something, but I thought that shit was a castle.
I mean, I thought it was the church
because there's a castle like on their little island.
Because I thought like that could have been
another castle.
I thought that was like the back of the church or something, and like just the front was the wood part, and like I don't know, maybe I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I mean, they could still be in the same proximity of that event.
Think about that. I mean, I feel like they totally are.
Yeah, they are, but they have to be because I mean, I'm just like because I feel like there's a reason that you meet up with Jimmy again at the end. But anyways, once they get back from their hunt or whatever, actually, there's this, I don't know really what I want to hit on now because it's like we hit that, and they do their whole hunting thing, and when you get introduced to all the stuff, what did you guys think about the deer scene when they see all the deer?
Like the herd?
Yeah.
Jurassic Park. That was the first thing that came to my head. It was Jurassic Park.
Like I thought it was cool, but you could clearly see that it was CG.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It was cool to see like what would happen
when nature is fully taken over.
Yeah, like, it was like an unending stampede of deer, just always running.
And it kind of makes sense because like they have to do things to check the deer population everywhere. If there's nothing there to take them out, even because I don't think there's enough infected anymore that would wipe out the deer. You know,
Because they're clearly starving out. There was the starved out infection.
Yeah.
Infected in the middle of the movie that everyone thought was Cillian Murphy.
yeah.
But
they really did make it look like him though.
There are like starved out ones, so they do starve.
See that?
Maybe if they don't pack up and like.
I don't know. See, that also raises more questions. Like it's like I don't know. Once again,
Well, that's what I'm hoping for because like we got the Doctor. I hope the Doctor plays a more relevant role in the next movie. Relevant, whatever the word is.
Yes,
relevant.
Prevalent and relevant.
Yeah, thank you.
But
Use multiple terms, but we'll get into that later. But that's what I'm kind of hoping for in the next movie. Is like more of a breakdown of the infected and what the fuck and how they became.
Because also a testament to Danny Boyle's direction and the cinematographer that they have. This movie was pretty gorgeously shot.
Oh my god!
Like it was
great.
Like there was some parts I'm like I kind of wish I was on shrooms for this because like there's a whole overhead shot where you see all the trees and stuff where they're walking like in that, and like the ground is all mossy and shit. I'm like that would be insane to look at right now. And then like I said, I mentioned the deer scene because they actually made that look majestic as fuck. Even though it was all CG, but it's just these big rolling fields in the Highlands. And, once again, they do a really good job kind of telling you, hey, look, this has been abandoned. Like, everyone that's not holed up right now is not in the area. Things can just take over, overgrow, whatever. And the thing is, you still have to be worried about, like, infected, almost like they're just wild fauna, like bears or something, or wolves. You know what I mean? And I think going back to the world building, the infected with the alpha, when he does that thing with the deer head and you see him just fucking stick it on there. And I love Aaron Taylor Johnson's reaction when he sees it because the kid is freaked out visibly because he's never seen this before. He's never smelled death because the dad is like inhaling the stank.
Yeah.
And like the kid's like about to fucking puke.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I don't care who you are. It's really hard to get used to that fucking smell. It's really hard to get used to that smell, especially if it's just right there out in the open. And then he sees the deer head, and you just see him visibly just like arm up the bow, like we have to go, like right now.
Yeah, it's like the first time you see him like visibly like nervous out in the wild, like that. There's something that could actually like threaten them.
Mm-hmm. And once again, I actually like that he was scared at first, but then once it actually started happening, he was like, all right, go back to the training. He was actually trying to run drills with Spike while they were doing it. He's like, all right, stop, turn around, defense position, and then he tries doing it, but Spike, like the kid he is, was far. And I think that's when I heard you going, you fucking moron, you stupid fuck this kid. Because he kept missing shots, he was getting scared. And don't get me wrong, I was like that the first time too. Like there's parts where he would like fall, or like he's supposed to try and climb up something and he can't do it because he's freaking out. And I'm like, God damn it, kid! I want to like you right now.
Let's just remember heart rate and breathing heavy.
Yeah.
And these things that happen when we're sprinting.
Yeah.
And like I know none of us sprint anymore.
No.
So let's think of it this way: after you mosh for a band for 10 seconds, and this kid just ran like.
Oh,
probably a fucking mile.
Maybe more than that, dude.
Yeah, I was being, but
he's a kid. He's got energy.
And then you gotta
he's not used to that.
Control your breathing, and now take aim and fire with a fucking bow and arrow.
And
not
by the
even
way,
a rifle, a bow and arrow.
Which, by the way, that probably takes a lot of goddamn strength just for something to like
60-70-pound bullback.
You think someone would have invested in silencers at this point?
We're talking about the UK, not America.
I get that, but you could make.
They barely have guns in the UK.
Guns is not a thing. That's why when you ever watch like a zombie movie that's not in America, they resort to these weird barbaric.
They mentioned it in the Cornetto trilogy in Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Forgot.
It's like, wait, you guys don't have guns? No. What's guns then? Farmers. And that's it.
So I started watching Daryl Dixon, the Walking Dead show.
Okay.
And he's in France. We're not going to talk. I don't understand any of it. It doesn't make sense. We're not going to talk about any of that. I'm just going to talk about it's really cool when you see the weapons that they use in this show. Because, like, they use literal muskets and they're, like, reloading on the firing line and shit. Or then they got literal, like, maces and battle axes and pikes and shit. Like, it's pretty interesting. Like, it's cool. But that's all we're going to talk about. We're going to go back to 20 years.
I will say this though, I was expecting to have more like melee weapons, like maybe
Yeah.
spears or machetes.
I expect.
or
Well,
swords.
you got to think about how are you going to clean it?
One.
That blood. You're going to kill the infected.
And
now
that's
that
right.
blood-
That's right.
So that was one thing I was kind of wondering, like, are they going to go back and get their arrows? But they didn't. They never went back and got their
yeah,
arrows.
I was wondering about
And you
that.
saw that they were running low on supplies,
Yep.
which means that they're still very, very do not touch them. Like, because one drop of blood, any of that shit will get you
You
infected.
think
Like-
they would carry like a spare quiver of arrows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's still stuff. That's the thing
Like,
too.
we'll
They,
have one.
they have to carry them on
You
their
got to think
back.
of weight also, and
I
then
get, but
yeah.
but you know what? I'd rather have an extra 2 or 3 pounds instead of having it be defenseless.
True.
And again, even if it's just a bundle of arrows, whatever, on the back of your belt, and then you have your full quiver, because then at least like, oh shit, I'm out.
Yep.
Duck behind a corner, fucking throw all this shit in. All right, cool. At least I have something.
Because I feel like when they go out of these into these places and stuff, it's more or less you're going to use those arrows to buy you some time to run. You're not actually going to stand up and fight.
No one had any sort of close range weapons.
No.
He had like a little knife, but fuck that.
No. It's like it's literally like we're buying us some time. Just shoot the ones in the front so that we can get the fuck out of here and hopefully ditch the ones in the back.
like your best bet, any sort of weapon would be like a spear or a pike, but then cleaning it, like you gotta like
Well, they
fucking be careful.
They cleaned their weapons in 28 days later. Immediately, they just cleaned it, and it's like again, whatever. As long as you don't have an open cut or whatever, just treat it like
yeah, but also back
They
then,
were also in housing and they had the means to like get wiped down and all that. There.
true, but like a rag or even if like whatever. Also,
and
we don't know if once the blood dries, if the infection is still present.
True.
It could be like venom, because venom and poison, once it dries,
it's very possible that the culture now, because back then they're trying to survive and they weren't really even thinking about all that. Just try to keep the blood out away from you and that's it. And now that everything's kind of like not calmed down, but established themselves, they're just like, you know what? We're not taking any fucking chances.
Yeah.
No blood. Don't care. We're not going to try and clean it. We're not going to, just get it out of the equation.
Also,
Especially since they don't want to bring it back to the village, because once they bring anything infected back to the village, they're fucked. Like that's just it. Especially when you see how they don't really make an emphasis on it here, but in the other movies where you see how fast that fucking virus travels, it's like once someone gets infected, that's it.
they do that vomit, the blood vomit when they get infected.
Yeah, you
that's
see-
what really, because that shit goes far.
Yeah.
And the first person in the movie, the girl,
Yeah.
the first thing she does is fucking
Vomit.
blood right into someone's face, and then that happens a bunch of times. That's the only reason Cillian Murphy didn't get killed when he was in the apartment. They jumped into the ceiling because they weren't spitting blood out. They already did that. It's already done. It's already gone. So it's like that's why it's if you're in close proximity, that's why everyone gets so infected. Because one, that's like a stream, but you got to remember there's arterial. Well, not arterial. It's
Splash.
mist.
Yeah.
It's just going,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, that's just going to go on your skin or in your eyes, and you're totally.
I mean,
fucked.
that's like I feel like that's the only issue I kind of have with the series in general is that there is a certain level of plot armor for a lot of people when it comes to that. Because I'm like, if it moves as fast as you say it doesn't it's as infectious as you say it. If you get a drop on, you have pores. It'll get into your pores.
You gotta remember, most of the time, I don't really even remember seeing them. Besides being out, they were wearing long sleeves and pants.
Most of them, but like when they were in the house, they were everyone was wearing I think short sleeves.
Well, no, I'm saying in the house, it's not where the infection are, but they're actively going. Did the what's his name have gloves? I think he had gloves.
Who?
Aaron, what's his name?
Eric?
Pretty sure Aaron.
The main character. Well, Spike's dad.
Oh, Spike's
He was wearing gloves the whole time too.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember being like, it's so weird. He's gonna grab the bow string with gloves on.
I mean,
but
if you get used to it,
it totally makes sense because, like, yeah, that obviously won't stop bites and stuff. Actually, whatever. But you get blood all over you, like, all right, cool. At least I can like take this off. It gives you a second, like in Aliens.
Yeah.
You get splashed with acid, like, all right, cool. I can just rip this thing off and throw it, and it's not gonna fucking destroy me.
what you call it. But I did like in this movie that they did little things like that to show you, hey, look, they are still aware that this blood is infected. There's even a point where the mom gets blood on her face from an infected, and the son's like, don't touch it, and he wipes down with the rag.
She went to like blink. He's like, don't blink, because like
Don't
if
move.
it was on her eyelash and she blinked,
Yeah,
it's
don't
the
move.
eye.
Wipes it off and then throws it to the ground.
Granted, one thing about the mom, I thought there was going to be some weird subplot where she was like used to be a badass and like just fuck shit up.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the way she fucking annihilated one of those infected, you're like, or is this going to be some weird thing where you pass out and like asleep you is just like a fucking
An animal?
I was going to be like an assassin for the infected because she destroyed one with a jacket. Literally a jacket.
Yep.
A child's jacket. She killed infected.
So the thing he's talking about, there's a scene where I mentioned that one of those slow ones almost rolled up on Spike because he fell asleep watching.
Yeah, so they're sitting at this castle / possibly church / lookout tower thing, and Spike's like, "I'm gonna stay awake and keep watch, Mom. You go to sleep and all that." And he fails. He fades. He goes to
He
sleep.
falls asleep almost immediately.
There's definitely a little time lapse there because he was like up and down and moving around, and then he knocks out. And then you see the slow lore start moving up, or slow bro moving up there.
Slow bro.
Start eating his shoelace, and then
Thinking
he's
it's a
like,
worm.
"This isn't a fucking worm." And then he's about to eat the kid, and then the mom takes his jacket and starts bashing its fucking face.
She wraps the jacket around his head, pulls him away, like puts the jacket in between them so he can't even bite him, and just like smashes his
Which
head.
is
Caves the skull
crazy.
in.
Which is it's a crazy way to kill someone,
And
and
it's smart
yes, thank
because
you.
it covers the blood.
Yep, there's no splatter, and she, in her delusional state, she still thought enough to do that so that no blood got on.
I thought that was gonna like pan out. Like anytime like he fucked up, shit just turned on and she just starts annihilating. It would have been.
I don't know if that would have made it better for me, or if I would have been like, all right, that's just another. Yeah, I would have been like, that's a little bit too ridiculous. I mean, because this movie gets ridiculous, but that would have been a little too ridiculous. I did think that it was cool.
It would have been cool if like it transferred a little bit to the kid at one point, and he's just like, "Oh wow, I'm really good at this." Just like,
Because like at a certain point, like once their little hunting thing is done, because they do like once again, it builds up to the point where they get chased by the alpha back
Oh,
home.
come on. We can't skip
What?
the fucking Rainbow Bridge because that scene was fucking gorgeous.
Okay.
We're not skipping that. So they get stuck out there overnight because the alpha's chasing them down and they can't really make it back. So they end up missing the tide because their island's protected by a tide. And when the tide is low, there's a land bridge and they can get off of it and
Like a
go
perfect
out
land
and
bridge.
do what they need. And though it's crazy, this is a real place. It's
That's
not
a
even
real
made up.
place?
Yes. So we can't even be like, that's so wild that wouldn't even be real.
No,
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
I
it
can
is.
No, I can imagine that it's fucking real. I just didn't think it'd be like that perfect.
But yeah,
you
so
know?
I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's like all
That's
like,
insane.
But so they get stuck out there, but then the fucking deer herd come by and completely like destroy the old house that they're hiding in because like kind of like earthquakes it pretty much and just
Like I said,
shatters
they
it.
keep up with that whole motif. This is old. This house is old.
It's decrepit. It falls apart. So obviously that noise is going to bring the infected in. So one thing this movie did, I don't know if you guys are on the same boat as me. I didn't know who was going to eat it.
Oh no!
I honestly, I thought, I'm like, yo, the dad's done. This is it. Like the next 15 minutes, the dad's going to eat it right now. Like this, and then this is going to become the kids' movie.
oh, like when they were getting snuck up on.
No, when he was like, no matter what, keep running. And then the kid's like, well, where are you going to be? He's like, I'm right behind you. It's like, this is it. He's dead.
Yeah.
And then they get through it. And you're like, oh, fuck yeah. And then like he's like, all right, no alpha, nothing's happening. And they get on there and they hit the land bridge. But there's a little bit of water there. So, they're splashing through it. Everything's good. And they make it. And then they're like laughing and having fun. And then the horde of fucking crows. Crows play a bigger part in this world than we think they do.
Which is kind of funny because I feel like that's a callback to the first one where they
That's
infected.
what I'm saying.
So it feels like the crows are actually working with the
The
infected.
crows definitely because like the crow was chilling on the slow bro. The crows came with the alpha. He like fucking summoned them. And then even the rats. I mean, like the fucking dirty animals. The rats were in the fucking tunnels.
Oh, well, the rats, I think that was
28 days later.
I know, but I think they were supposed to. Those were illustrated that they're running away from the infected.
They're just
crows. Yeah, but the crows, because it's
they're always with them.
Yeah, and also it's well known that crows are highly intelligent. To where like even if it's at the basis level, like hey, if we follow these things, they'll take us to food.
Yeah.
because they were eating one of them was eating the corpse of that Jimmy corpse that they found, and it ran away as soon as the normal guys came in.
Yeah.
And so it's very possible, even just at that base level where it's like, hey, that's where food is, or hey, if we let these guys know that there's food here, they'll kill the thing, and then we could just get the leftovers. And crows are smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
So that's actually one really cool thing that you brought it up. That just they are working together with them.
They come up a couple of times in this movie and in the first movie, so it's pretty interesting. But anyway, so you're on the little the Rainbow Bridge, and then you turn around, and you don't see it, but you just see the fucking water pounding, and like the Alpha running after them, like down this fucking path, and like that scene was pretty fucking like that was like a lot of anxiety right there. That scene was done well, and the music was once again like this like.
Yeah, I forgot some happy. Oh no,
it was like an uplifting, like
spiritual, like kind of song.
Yeah, there was no lyrics or anything, but like just the vibes, the music.
They kind of also meshed it in because when they got closer to the actual village, they keep cutting to a party that they're having.
Yeah,
and it kind of raises up as soon as it starts singing with the music and all that stuff. And then, but yeah, you don't know which one of them is going to eat it because you could also think the father dies and then becomes the son's story. Or the son dies, and then the dad kind of goes crazy and then does something and goes back out there for some reason. So you don't know what's going to happen. And once again, it's just like you see how that they've had to adapt to this stuff. Number one, they have whistles, and I forgot they mentioned that when they were packing their stuff. He's like, "You have your whistle." Yes, okay. As soon as they got up close, he started blowing the whistle, yelling "Alpha, Alpha!" And by the way, fuck the Watchtower. They fell asleep too. Everyone just falls asleep in this movie. And then they have to run their weird kind of not crank generator thing so that the lights can work.
Crank powered, so to get the lights on, so they're cranking everything up, trying to figure out what's coming. They see the Alpha, they see them, and they fire this fucking badass harpoon, explosive arrow, whatever, and it rips right through the Alpha and saves them at the last second.
He took a lot of hits, the Alpha.
Yeah, because they were hitting him with regular.
Well, he had at least 4 hours in him.
And he went down at first, but then after that, it's he got used to it.
He was still sprinting at them with 4 hours. And then he took a fucking harpoon to the chest.
Flaming harpoon.
Basically pinned him to the ground.
Yeah.
So so you're going to drown.
But, man, watching that Alpha run, it's it was hauling ass because they were already halfway through. And that motherfucker caught up like that. You just see him cutting air.
I liked the I don't know, they showed the impact when he was running the water shooting.
Because that's all you see behind them.
Yeah, but
not him.
Damn.
That would be scary.
That's serious power he's put behind that.
And they have no arrows or anything left. They are just and they got onto that causeway just because he's just look, we have to get the fuck out of here now. It's got to be low enough. Even if he probably would have made him swim if they had to at this point. But man, they just barely make it, and they make it to the village, and they have a whole party for Spike, which also, by the way, that party was anxiety inducing.
Yeah.
If you
too
watch
many people, too much going on,
drinking a lot, and tell me you guys have not felt that overwhelmed at a gathering or something where you've had too much, you're overstimulated, then out of nowhere you just kind of it boils up, and then you just gotta puke or something.
Yeah, so we're gonna have too much booze.
Yeah, or you get the spins after smoking a blunt right after you have a lot of alcohol.
He's 12. Did you just give him mead?
By the way, yeah, that's got to be some.
I was gonna say it's definitely some high content alcohol
because they made it themselves, probably
it
somehow
unregulated and very strong.
And he's surrounded by all these people, and then he just goes out and he vomits, and I love that scene because I'm that is actually very true to how it would be if you were overwhelmed at a party, and then. Unfortunately, he finds out. This is when you kind of find out that Aaron Taylor Johnson's character is kind of a piece of shit.
He is cheating on the mom.
Yeah.
While she's
dying.
Yeah, while she's dying.
You're that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks because besides for that, I actually his character's great, and then they throw that part in, and you're
and it gets worse.
You could have at least waited till she dies. At least do that.
Yeah, no, you couldn't do it. And also, not for nothing, you kind of see that he is that kind of deadbeat dad, and it kind of explains also why he pushed. You're right there, Bob.
It was fucking fake phone call.
Oh, okay. But what you call it? You see that maybe he pushed Spike to go because he's like either could have been so he could toughen him up when his mom died, because he also it's not.
I'm trying to spin everything in the father's favor to make him a good person,
or he's
as
got
much as I can.
Or he's that kind of asshole dad that wants. That wants his son to be like the best, and he wants to be able to brag about him and stuff. Because when they come back from the party and he's telling the story about how Spike killed his first infected, he embellishes the whole story to make Spike look like he was this ultimate badass, just taking out infected left and right.
Yeah, but I feel like that's all the old. Like they're kind of like. I feel like what they're doing in this movie is kind of like showing the similarities of when like society restarts and it's coming to its the beginnings and it's rebuilding itself, and like it's like how the Greeks and their gods and their goddesses, and then how there's like Achilles and like all these people in these crazy battles, and we like hype all that, and I'm sure it's like he probably only killed 2 people and got murdered or some shit.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
That's
it's
a
just
good
like
point. That's a good
interesting
point.
to see like the society rebuilding and how they're like trying to like talk up these crazy like, oh, this motherfucker dropped an alpha and he's 12 like type shit like.
Okay,
but,
that's fair.
That's how I like to see it. I mean, hammered and just it's also just morale boosting. It's making
true.
this community feel like they're stronger, they're doing better. The young ones are stronger, they're thriving. There's nothing else out
I
there
can
for
see that.
them.
I saw like kind of like when you see like a Viking celebrate and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
That was very similar to that. I got a lot of like How to Train Your Dragon kind of feel to this.
Yeah, there was just a lot less battle axes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would feel like they would have more weaponry like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or maybe it boiled down to this is the lightest thing that we know we can kill them from afar.
That's true. I
Because
think,
like if you got a spear and like say it gets stuck in the first one, like
and also it does. Dylan's right because the splatter and not for nothing the whole trying to stay clean.
True, but I get that. But I mean, if it's like a fucking,
You got to play that shit like Selena from 28 Days
but you got
Later.
like you got a 6 foot, you got a 6 foot pike, and they run you. Bop.
Yeah, that's what I said. Pike or spears would be the best.
Yeah.
It's just making sure you clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 28 Days Later, they were still in housing that still had some sort of power and shit where they like wipe their shit down with rags. But like if you're on the go with the pike, you wipe that down with that rag.
I mean,
what are you going to do? Put that rag in your pocket now and use it later? No,
well,
rag's covered in fucking infected blood.
They literally did that.
Yeah, but he threw away
He
the rag.
wiped his mom's face.
And then he threw
And
away the
got rid
rag.
of it.
Yes, exactly. So that's what would
So
happen.
you bring 12 and hope you don't need more?
I mean, make that one last or whatever. Like, wipe off the blood and fold it in on itself so it ain't touch nothing. Have a little.
Nah, it's too
whatever.
risky.
And
How infectious
Then
these
you know
viruses.
what? Then carry 12 rags. I don't know what to tell you.
And then I honestly think that it's also because their battle doctrine really is, hey, we're not trying to stand up and fight. We're trying to at least distract them enough to get away. Like
They won't tire out.
They won't, but you could take out the first row, and then that'll buy you a little bit more time to just keep running.
This
Because
would have been way different in America.
oh yeah,
They would have been like, no, it never happened because they were all in 9.
there's more guns than people.
I was going to say, people were excited about this, actually. There were people with full pickup trucks driving around, just taking out the infected.
Like in Zombieland, where Woody Harrelson finds a bag of guns in a monster truck. That's not that far fetched.
There's probably another monster truck full of a different bag of guns somewhere in that neighborhood.
Probably.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I feel like this movie would have been like 28 hours later, and it would have been done.
And I
like everyone would have.
I do love when they do introduce guns into this. It makes no goddamn difference.
Well, you know what? No one had any sort of trigger control or sort of conserving ammunition.
I will say this: it did make me lose a lot of faith in NATO forces.
Also, can we talk about the fucking ridiculous explosion that didn't kill anyone except everyone above?
They had to have been underneath something. Like, I'm still trying to
No,
figure that out.
They
but
were
like,
on the floor.
maybe they
fire
were
was
underneath, like, an ice cream machine glass. And
I don't think that is how anything
I
works.
think- well,
And I think
that's how I'm going to say it works, so
So-
I don't need to be angry.
I mean, it's one of those things. So, like, after the whole partying stuff, you notice that once again, Aaron Taylor Johnson's character is a piece of shit. There is a point where the son kind of confronts him about what happened at the party, and then he basically just slaps the shit out of him.
classic dad move.
He woke up in a
Oh, really? Is that how you're gonna defend that? His eggs were burnt. And he was upset.
What murder?
He was the
Back
best
then?
guy around.
Eggs are hard to come by.
They probably are, but that doesn't mean you should beat your son.
No, they're not. You got
That was
chickens.
not a beating. He
Okay,
gave
let's
him
not
a
get
love
let's
tap.
not get into semantics. You saw the dad's face. He knew he did something wrong, all right? Because he smacks him, and then he's trying to like make up with them, and then the son once again reacts like a kid would, and like does the most irrational thing and pulls a knife on the desk and get the fuck out of the house.
It was what was gangsters? It was dad just snatched the fucking thing and closed it basically in the same motion and gave it back to him. You're
But I like how they showed like the rage.
Yeah, he was
like
going
fucking
to.
like shaking. Like
bro, he snatched that shit out of his hand.
Yeah.
Like, give me that.
Well, yeah.
Like,
He was Craven the Hunter.
I know, but I'm just like, all right, that was impressive because he literally like took it and closed it and was like, no.
I did like a lot of the earlier camera shots where like that moment where he's like closing the fist and they kind of cut it almost like he's like turning into an infected or something. Or like the mom
the
when
similarity.
Yeah.
I like that this
Yeah.
movie does a great job of showing that, and we're gonna get into this in much more detail in a few minutes, honestly, probably. But like, there's no like they're alike. There's no difference. There's really trying to show that.
And going back to what Mike said about Cross, it's just us turned to 11. Like that rage factor we have is just turned to the maximum setting. But we all have inklings of that within us. Like I said, the mom, when she starts freaking out because she's having an episode with her disease because the mom is sick and she's dying, she's knocking shit over and it almost looks like she's turning into an infected. Yeah. But in reality, she has some kind of disease.
Brain cancer.
Yeah. I mean,
Spoiler alert.
Not for nothing. You can kind of guess it's something like that.
It's a lethal.
She has some kind of meningitis or something is wrong with her brain.
But, is melted.
Yeah, but cancer is the first thing I jumped to. I'm like, this has a lot of the same inklings of what cancer would be, and they have no way of testing it and stuff. But
the doctor was be like.
So, do you guys think that the dad knew it was cancer?
I don't think he knew. I think he just knew that she was fucked.
Okay, so you think that he knew that she was dying?
Yeah, no, he absolutely knew she was dying.
I think everyone knew, and they fucked this kid up. No. And they should have all just been like, listen,
this is one thing.
Your mom is not going to make it.
Your mom's going to die.
You're going to need to be tough.
Well, first of all, no one was really even seeing her when she was like bedridden, you know?
I mean, that one friend that he had, was it
one
Sam
friend
or
was
something?
Like,
the old guy.
Sam.
Well, I think he was just
definitely Sam.
I think he's just an old guy who doesn't really like used to himself, you know? So I don't think it was really widely. I think that it was widely known that she was sick.
Yes.
But like not
terminal.
Sick. And like the point is, he knew she was fucked. That it was done. Like she was gone. Yeah, and I mean, and in his head, there really was no anyone that he could bring him to because like he talks about it later in the movie. Like, no, the one guy we could possibly go to, he's out of his fucking mind. So
yep.
We're not doing that ever. At least probably dead. Or actually, no, they know he's not because they call the fire.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't think he did that.
Well, no, yeah, purpose. This is where we get that whole next.
But I don't think he did that on purpose. I don't think he's like, no, fuck my wife. She has something that we could maybe treat, and I know that it's this, and we're not telling my kid. I think he was just like, she's done. There's nothing we can do, and I guess I'm just gonna make her as comfortable as possible, you know.
Yeah.
But I had to go be doing weird shit, you know.
I mean, it's like I'm not justifying what he did.
No,
it's just
it's a realistic reaction.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's absolutely realistic. Yeah. Like if you're like, because you know what, that kind of shows me a little bit more that he's like he knows for a fact that she's done. Like, you know, because I mean, think about all the stuff that we saw in the brief time that we saw her on screen, and he's been with her for way longer.
You even saw his like frustration with it at a point. Like he's like, I'll go like tend to your mom. And he's going to go upstairs, and he like stops, and the stairwells. And he like goes up the stairs, and like
even almost a little bit with the son too, which is like she keeps asking him where he's going, and like they clearly already told her.
He just kept yelling the C word at him.
Oh my god! Yeah, no, it was really funny. One of the funny things, like her accent made it sound way better. Cool. Yeah, you're like, oh, she's pissed.
Our whole row laughed at that scene.
Yeah.
because it's not like it's supposed to be funny, but yeah, her accent does make that word a lot funnier.
hurling that word around.
But yeah, like I said, so now at this point we come to the second half of his coming of age story, his actual coming of age story. He says, "Fuck my dad. I'm gonna take my mom to go see this doctor he was hiding me from. He was hiding from me."
So he finds out from Sam. He leaves the party, sees his dad cheating on the mom, goes home early, and then this is where they kind of talk about Dr. Kelson. And the father had already no, he didn't speak about him yet. So he talks about how there's this guy, Dr. Kelson, out there, but no one talks to him anymore.
Well, no, the kid.
And then the dad questions.
The kid brought up that he saw
but
fire.
the dad said, "I don't know anything about that."
Well, no, he brought up that he saw fire to Sam.
Yeah,
and that's where
Sam.
Yeah, and then Sam was like, "Oh, I wonder if that
fire.
was Kelson still."
Yeah, exactly.
And then he brings it up to the dad, and that's really what set
Everything
him and his son. Maybe the dad got real emotional because he's like, "Yeah, we're going to go to the doctor that has no medicine and try and save your mom when the doctor literally can't do shit." Of course, I'm going to hit my son because that's the dumbest thing.
No, he got mad after he mentioned the chick he was cheating with. He's like, so you're going to marry Rosie after this? You shut your mouth. You leave my whore's name out of your mouth.
That was just like the tip of the iceberg. It was already dealt in. The kid could have said, "I want bacon again," and he'd been shut up.
So, Dad, give me some fucking bacon.
This is what hurt me.
By the way, I don't know why we're making fun of child abuse right now.
Yeah,
this is getting a little fucking sorry.
I'll say something. What was weird to me is he put bacon in like a handkerchief.
Yeah, for the mom.
I know. I don't.
They don't have plates. It's the apocalypse.
They have plates.
I thought those were frisbees.
Yeah, but he was hiding it from their dad. He didn't want dad to see it, so he hid it because the dad was like, "Eat fucking bacon. Eat your bacon, Jimmy."
Why does he sound like an old Italian man now?
I'm like, he's clearly not.
Does he sound like Bruce Valanche?
All right, whatever. I think it was just me being like, ugh, so weird.
I think what really grossed you out was some rubbery ass bacon.
I did.
Oh yeah.
I think they just cut.
I thought that was ham.
They cut that into the shape of bacon. That was not bacon.
I thought that was like just raw ham.
Pork product.
The pig was still alive, actually.
You're like, yeah, no, it's still.
It was very floppy bacon. It was not. But I mean, if you're in the apocalypse and you don't see bacon for a really long time.
But I mean, it does exist.
Floppy bacon.
But I mean, it does exist. Pork belly still exists. It would just be thick cut bacon.
Yeah, but you gotta crisp that shit. You didn't crisp it.
It'd be. The point is, bacon still would exist. It would be a lavish and very, very rare thing because you're not killing pigs all the time. It's not like, I mean, I guess they have.
I mean, it's actually very questionable
whether
they
said it was rare. He's like, "Whoa, we're eating bacon today."
They probably.
He's like, "Yeah, probably because you're like gonna die on your way home."
How fucked up is that? it's like when you're hearing the soldiers eating lobsters and steaks for dinner.
Shit.
It's like, uh-oh.
It's like, eat your bacon. Trust me, eat your bacon.
I will say this though, Spike was very, very smart with these diversion tactics.
Yeah.
I was like, for a second, I was like, oh shit, is something actually happening? And then I'm just like, oh, this guy's a little motherfucker. He tricked everyone.
Yes.
He got everyone good.
I thought it was kind of fucked up though, because was that the supply tent?
I was going to say, I'm like, I really hope he didn't burn supply. It would have been funny if they showed all supplies like outside and like just
casually moved over like.
They know that they like try to put it out and they look and see all the stuff is out of the thing. And they're like, wait a minute, this shed's not even. It's just cloth burning. So like that would have been like, all right, he's not being a dick, but he was smart. Like he didn't fuck their shit up.
At this point, he was very emotional, so he was just like, I need to get my mom out of here.
Yeah.
Also, their method of extinguishing fires.
With their little ass buckets of water, just trying to. Yeah, I know. What else are you supposed to do? But like
the other method would be the assembly line. You pass the bucket down the line, and one person.
I mean, you could also use dirt.
I was gonna say you could
dirt. You could have probably shovels.
You can still pressurize water if you do the right thing. You know?
I mean, technically, Dr. Kelson did it.
You could
do it right now.
I'll go to Home Depot. You get one of those pesticide things. Dump all the shit out. Fill it with water. Done.
Home Depot doesn't exist.
But it did.
Not.
I'm sure someone has.
The UK doesn't have Home Depot.
It's illegal.
Home Depot, whatever
they're illegal.
Yeah, Home Depots are strictly forbidden in Europe.
I would like to go to the tool apothecary.
If you get caught with a Home Depot in Europe, they put you away. You can't. You guys got Home Depot? You guys Holden?
But yeah, so as Dylan was saying, the doctor that he gets that riles up his dad in the first place, he's like, all right, that's a doctor. I'm gonna go take mom there. He can fix her, and then I can, and then we don't have to live with dad or whatever the fuck. And then he takes her out of the wire, basically.
Crazy, fucking crazy. I didn't even know the mom could walk.
Oh, dude, when he sees her walking,
That's the best part.
I was like, wait, your mom can walk? And I was like, you didn't ask? Like, I was wondering why he was carrying her. I'm like, why are you carrying her?
I mean, I also thought maybe it was fatigue. She does have fucking cancer. But it's like, I mean, either way. So they make their way onto the mainland. And he's trying to get to this doctor. And it's funny because this is the one place where people actually know directions, like go southwest, go northwest, go east. And he goes southwest to go to this doctor. And then we did the whole scene with inside of the church or castle, whatever. And then they kind of cut. I think they cut to the soldiers.
They were in the church part of the castle.
Cathedral. Okay, because there was an altar like there, right?
There was an altar. They were basically sitting at the place.
But it can't be the same church because that was like a stone church.
Yeah, and the other one was wood.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think that's when it cuts to the soldier story, right? Yeah, no, I would say right after.
Oh,
that.
when they're falling and stuff.
Yeah, this is when we get introduced to the NATO soldiers, because they did show them in the preview. So this kind of becomes this guy's Eric's kind of side story that they introduce here. So some NATO soldiers get stranded onto the island, and they're getting chased down by the infected. And once again, guns make no fucking difference. Like they get half of them get taken out like in 3 minutes.
I was annoyed by their shooting.
I was gonna say it was. Oh man!
I was like, that motherfucker just sprayed like 7 bullets and only 1 died. Stop.
And none of them are doing any sort of drill tactics or anything. Like Aaron Taylor Johnson and Spike.
No, they were. And
it was
he was trying to help his buddy, and then the guy.
It was very sloppy, dude.
Oh, I knew he was gonna get jumped. Literally.
Yeah.
And they get taken out very quickly, and also the whole method that they were trying to escape by was very sloppy, dude. I'm like, I don't know if that's just how NATO forces are, or if they're not as regimented as like some of the special forces we have here. Well, they're also not special forces; they're just kind of general NATO infantry, right? That's what they were.
Yeah, they were just like
just regular ass soldiers.
Swedish NATO,
yes.
Like Swedish soldiers, or just NATO. Yes.
Yeah, and what wars have Swedes ever had to fight?
Great Meatball Wars.
Oh my god, not the IKEA
I
wars.
think it's also just showing like
wars.
they're just on like quarantine control. They're just there to make sure no one tries to leave the island, and unfortunately, they got stuck on the island.
So wouldn't it make sense if you saw a boat being driven by someone that they're not infected? Because if they were, they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but no one probably did any of the research to figure out how it spread, and they're just like,
no, listen, there has to be, in 28 years, they have to at least know that the infection is
unless 28 weeks later really isn't retconned, and they won't let it leave the island because of the asymptomatic people, and they can't trust it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes more sense.
It does, and you know what? I don't think they did retcon it really, because
I think some parts will remain, but I'm
pretty sure
they
footage
straight
from that
up
movie.
Said they 100% did.
They used footage,
but I'm pretty sure they said like in a very nice way that this was a nice movie, but this isn't the path.
I mean, because it did say that, because they don't mention in 28 Days Later that it ever made it to Europe. Like even after the whole,
they said Europe fought it back.
But was that in the 28 Weeks Later movie, or was that
no? In 28 Years Later, when they do their little quick text, it says it was fought back off of Europe.
Did they mean in the first round of the infection, or
they never even brought up that there were 2 rounds of infection.
That's what I'm saying. So it almost feels like if they wanted to bring that back, they could. I think they did it in such a way where if they wanted to mention that again, they could, because they didn't mention there was 2 rounds of infection. The only time it's ever mentioned that it ever reached Europe was in 28 Weeks Later, where it hits Paris, and that makes sense because Paris is like right there, and all they have to do is just push it back from there. And this is where Dylan was right. I mean, I'm glad I saw it after the movie. When I saw the supplemental material, they do show that there's that one little pathway of like 200 miles where most of the patrols are between England.
It's like 20 miles.
That's
why they're like sketched out by it.
And that's where most of the patrol was. And then also they show like the pictures of the settlement that Spike is from, that they're not a threat and shit like that. And then they also, I don't know if you saw recently, they posted up the last messages of Elric because he was radioing in.
Yeah, I listened to them.
And where he's just like, we crashed and
we're trying to get more people off the boat, but he's like, but no one wants to leave without like heavy armory and everything. So like a lot of people wouldn't get off the boat.
And then not only that, he's like, we're trying to stay away from the shore. Someone rescue us. And it keeps trying to pull them into the shore. The current's pulling them into the shore. And like he said in the movie, once you meet Eric, and because he's the last survivor of this cadre of soldiers that get stranded there, because the Alpha takes out the last guy straight up Predator style. He rips the goddamn spine out
and then beats the other one with it.
Insane. That was like some barbarian shit. Like
that was.
I was watching like some reactions to the trailers and people were like, yo, the fucking infected started building like weapons. I can't wait to see what they. No, that motherfucker ripped someone's head off and hit someone. Like
that shit was.
That wasn't a weapon. He just dismantled.
Like I'm not a fan of the slow ones because they don't make sense to me. Yeah. But the alphas, I really did like that because that is more believable to me than the fucking fat ones on the floor.
Yeah.
But because once again, they're eating food that you could get plenty of energy, that you can keep your muscle mass and all that other shit, especially the crazy way that the infection works and stuff. And just the fact that he's just fucking predatoring people left and right and shit. And he does that just as a display of force too. And he's constantly carrying the head. Like you see that they chase down people still holding the head.
Cross again. It's like horse cock.
Yep. Yeah, you mentioned that in the car.
Yeah. Did you remember that at all from Cross?
I don't think you read those.
There's a part where
I stopped at the only happy page in the book.
All right. So there's
so like what, page 4?
Well, there was like wolves in the wild, and it was like, oh, look at the wolves in nature.
Oh yeah, that was before the guy went into a whole monologue about how bad things got.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'm fucking over this shit.
But there was a part where there's an alpha, and he has a whole crew of infected, and basically his weapon is a center core stick that he rolls around and beats people to death like a shillelagh.
Yep.
Like, and it's pretty much like that. Like,
it's kind of like that, except not super deplorable, but it's more like an actual like alpha animal as opposed to just some crazy rape murderer.
Well, he's like a roid rage rapist. Basically.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. And here's another thing. Danny Boyle, you gotta chill with the gratuitous full frontal in some of these movies. Like if it wasn't Cillian Murphy in the first one, it's Samson in this one.
To keep the theme, you're gonna see dick.
28 years later, you will see dick.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure he had to come out and say that it was all prosthetic.
Yeah, I read that.
Legalities.
They had a fucking 12-year-old on set.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all those fucking dudes running on.
So it was prosthetics.
I did too. Like it just didn't cross my mind. Like
it's just made me think of this one scene in American Werewolf in London. There's a scene where the main character is naked because he changed to a werewolf and woke up in a zoo. He's trying to get home and he steals a balloon from a kid. But he jumps out. I don't know why he had to jump out of the bush, holding his junk to take the balloon. It would have been funny if his hand just came out of the bush, grabbed the balloon, and he ran away. With the kid not
instead of fucking flashing the kid and then grabbing the balloon.
Yeah, the kid was right there, and it was like, "What the fuck? Like, how'd you guys do this?" But yeah, no, it was weird, and yes, there was a lot of dick in this movie, a lot.
Very threatening auras in this movie.
Be closed 28 years ago.
Yeah, they're right. You're right about that.
I get that, but it was aggressive.
That's some attention to detail.
It was like intentional. It was very intentional.
It's like it was meant to make you uncomfortable. That's probably the reason, actually. But like,
and also Samson, he almost gave himself a black eye running around. Dude. Like, that thing was moving. That was crazy. Like, also
28 dongs later.
Yeah, that was. I saw someone post 28 inches later.
Oh my god!
You're like, oh my god! I'm surprised he didn't trip on that thing. It's crazy.
But yeah, at a certain point, the stories of Spike and his mom and Eric converge at the gas station where you guys were arguing about whether the explosion in the gas station would actually. They do show the gases at like
It's
face level.
It's up at the ceiling.
I feel like it's possible that it's not going to expand down and out. It could just have stayed on that level.
Because it's just going to stay with the gas.
Yeah,
right?
it's not going to expand out.
We need Mythbusters.
It lit the effect.
Yeah.
They were standing.
Yeah, they were standing.
They were
standing.
I get that, but still, and also they had just been standing in it. They had that shit all over them. They were choking on it.
Yeah, but
then they weren't.
They dived down.
I get that.
Well, listen,
But
we're going to Mythbusters.
No, fumes linger.
Well, listen.
Fumes linger. I'm just saying, they would have at least lit up
try.
a little bit.
We'll get a room.
You know what? You go do
We'll
that.
fill it up with some butane.
And also, I don't think it was like actual was it gas?
He
vapors?
said what it was.
Yeah, but I don't know where that would come from. Yeah, unless it's some weird thing from the
gas station.
I know, maybe it was just some byproduct of the gas vapor.
Well, I'm saying it's like something over the years, like gas built up in there from something. Maybe like I don't know what chemicals do.
Because he said I forgot what chemical he said that was.
Unless he literally just said ethanol.
No, he didn't say ethanol. He said something with a B or something.
Petrol.
Bit to something. I don't know. It was some weird.
Yeah, he said it was
thing.
like benzene or something.
Yeah,
right?
but
benzene.
and then Eric, he kind of makes himself kind of the comedic relief a little bit at this point because he really just acts like a dick this whole time, and it's not even. I don't blame him too much because he's like pissed off that he got fucking stranded here, and he pretty much knows he's stuck there forever.
Yeah.
Even if he lives, he's stuck there forever because they're not allowed to leave the island for quarantine. And I understand why they actually brought him on because they basically used him to just kind of show the juxtaposition of how little Spike knows about the outside world.
And that the outside world is literally like normal. It's like this.
Yes, and not only that, the soldier has no understanding of how this kid doesn't understand what he's talking about. Because he's going off about this story about his friend being a delivery driver and that he joined the Navy just so he could prove to his friend that he's wasting his life being a delivery driver and he's going to amount to something. And now he's stuck on a fucking zombie island that he can't leave.
I think he says something. He drops off packages.
And he's like,
for things online, he's like,
oh shit, you don't know what any of that is.
Yeah, I don't know.
And even Spike goes, I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, that should have been a delivery driver, God damn it.
And he had the phone. He was being a dick. He's like, what's that? He's like, well, it's about to be a brick in a minute or two. But
I love that. He's like, why is that girl's face going through shellfish allergies?
Oh yeah, we have a girl in my village who does that too. Her lips blow up.
Her lips blow. No, she's not allergic. No, she's gorgeous. Like her face is kind of fucked up, dude.
Yeah, I love that the kid was like just so genuine. He's like, what's wrong with her? Like, is she okay?
Because that's also true. Like they're not used to it. Like however you look, that's just how you look. Like there's no way to augment yourself. They don't know. He doesn't know what any of that shit is. So it's just like, even when he first saw it, you just see him immediately look at like, what the fuck is that thing? And I'm just like, damn, like.
Well, he didn't even know. He knew what photos were because some people had them.
Yeah.
He didn't know like what's the thing
that you just have photos of people and stuff. Like he didn't understand a lot of concepts that they're talking about. And that's why I'm pretty sure they threw in this guy just to show you like, hey, look, they are really isolated here. And if you grew up in this environment, you have no fucking clue how the outside world is.
He was
like.
born
On the island.
Well, no, I'm saying he was born like what 6 years into the infection.
28 years.
He's 12.
So.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Whatever, but
like 13.
Yeah,
right.
Like
13,
like,
14, something math.
Like basically, the infection's been around longer than he's been alive.
Yeah, that's just
So,
the
like,
world to him now. He doesn't understand any of this other shit. He doesn't know what he's missing, if anything. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like I thought that was actually really cool they brought him. And also, I kind of was hoping that he would have lasted a little longer though, because at that he literally only lasted like a few scenes.
I did start to enjoy him, and then he was just actually, I would have done exactly what led to his death. Why? Because
you don't know.
You don't know. I probably wouldn't have backed up as much as him.
Because the thing that we're talking about right now is kind of my second kind of what the fuck moment in this.
Whole thing.
So they introduced kind of this new thing where apparently the infected can get pregnant. And they did show a pregnant infected, which I'm like, oh man, I hope they don't. It doesn't even make sense because I'm like thinking like, oh, maybe she was pregnant before she got infected or something. But I'm like that wouldn't make sense because it's been so long now that no one on the mainland is probably like, you know what I mean? And then later they discover this infected woman on the train that we were introduced to before.
I have darker theories.
Yeah. And I know you do. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And so they find this infected woman giving birth, and the mom, being dementiaed out and shit, goes up to this infected woman, and I guess they try to do this whole thing like we're both mothers, like when we're helping each other, that kind of thing. And she helps this infected give birth.
I don't like it.
And
Dana liked that scene. I'm like, it's got to be a little thing, but I don't know. Like,
this has got to be a woman thing.
I don't know. I didn't.
No, it didn't make sense.
I didn't like that scene,
bro. She would have ripped her fucking face off. Like
the thing is, I'm
hand
trying to
holding
defend this because I don't know why I'm actually.
No, the hand holding thing made no fucking sense.
No.
The wear mothers thing made no fucking sense. And like, no, that thing would have just been rolling around, fucking raging out.
Because it also kind of tells me one other thing too. Because when we saw the slow ones in the beginning too, you see that there's a child.
Yeah.
Was that child infected?
Why?
Because it did. Number one, it didn't try attacking them; it ran away.
Yeah.
And two, you looked at its eyes; they weren't red.
None of the slow lower eyes.
They were. Most of them were closed. But like, either way, the sign of any infected, the eyes are red. And then not only that, the kid ran away. It didn't go after him.
Idea about them. What if all those slow ones are babies that just grew up and never learned like to get up and function? They can't be told that.
That's not a bad.
And that would explain why there's.
But that still also doesn't explain like why they got so fucking fat.
Well, because they can't get up and like burn off calories running around, and crawling around.
Yeah, but
just eating all the time.
Yeah, but I guess true. Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
That's actually a really good theory.
That's
Holy shit.
good.
Yeah, probably the baby was just growing up over time because that would explain a lot of that.
The ones that didn't like starve out or whatever.
Yeah.
Just rolling around.
Or if they're like in the woods and they're just kind of trailing the faster ones and eating their leavings, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I would explain why.
But then also, like I said, I feel like because that other one too, but the one that we saw, the child, the slow one, was standing on 2 feet and it ran. Once again, the thing that it didn't
hobbled.
It hobbled away. Yes, because it's fast.
Just like the other ones, they all hobbled.
But it didn't run after them. If it was infected,
it ran away.
Yeah, it would have gone after them. Because there's been no sign of an infected getting scared of someone and running away. They've always charged and went after someone. Yeah. But that one ran away because it's not infected. It could possibly just be a not normal kid, but just like, hey, look, I'm just following my parents around, eating what they're eating and doing what they're doing, and also probably can't cut any of the baby fat or any of that shit. And, you know, like it kind of makes sense. That these infected, that because when they give birth, when the infected woman gets birth on the train, you see that the baby's not infected. Like straight up, it's not infected. You see the eyes are fine. It's acting like a normal baby. It's not trying to fucking eat anyone.
Yeah, but you know what would happen probably? The baby probably normally if they give birth because the mom cleaned it off real quick because it was covered in blood. Normally they're probably just there and covered in blood and then get infected
later.
And then that's why they.
Unless
or the alpha comes and infects it.
Unless it's immune.
But we haven't seen it really.
Yeah, I mean.
But I'm just saying, the point would be that they are covered in infected blood. That one that we saw, they cleaned it off. You know what I mean?
Or are they covered in placenta?
Well, no, the placenta kept it from being infected in the womb.
That's what he thinks.
Also, it's really weird.
No, but there's a precedence for that.
Yeah.
Women that have HIV that give birth to kids, they don't.
Is the placenta.
A lot of them don't get it.
Huh.
Some do get it, but there's been cases where a lot of those kids don't end up.
I like the theory that it's not infected because rage is learned.
That's also a possibility.
And that it was just not exposed to anything yet, so it just can't have a foundation.
What if it like grows up? So, but you're saying that let's say it's birthed from an infected, but it's always around the infected, right? So it eventually just starts to learn to be like that. Would the virus activate, or it just becomes infected?
Yeah, I didn't think that far.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't think the kid would survive long enough if it was uninfected around the infected. They would kill it.
And it's also possible too.
It was absolutely because they'd be like, "Well, you're not infected," but that probably seldom happens because, like I said,
once again, I'm hoping that there's more answers to this shit in the next movie. But I mean, this is posing a lot of fucking good questions. Just because, like I said,
or everyone's wrong, and the movie starts off, and their little town is on fire because of infected babies.
Babies, multiple.
Because maybe someone was just like, I can breastfeed, and then the baby latches on, and then it's like infected.
I will be so upset if that's what happens. Because this is also what I'm wondering too. What if they do I hope they don't do like a weird time jump or anything like that. But if let's say I don't know, maybe someone tries to kiss
another 28 years later.
Tries to kiss the baby or something, or maybe the baby pees on somebody or whatever, and then the whole town's infected because the baby's actually an immune character or a non asymptomatic character.
Immune character.
Carrier. I keep saying character.
Carrier would make more sense.
Which is so.
That's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
But they probably would get killed because it's not going to protect. They're immune, but they're not going to protect. It's like in The Last of Us. Cool, you might be immune to the virus, but you're not immune to the tornado.
No, they'll still probably get attacked because in 28 weeks later, when the mom gets attacked, she gets bitten. But and also to be honest though, you don't really see them other than later with the deer and shit like that, and possibly
they didn't eat in the.
Or they didn't.
28 days later and 28 weeks later,
they didn't.
Didn't eat people. They literally just raged out.
Yeah, and then they
didn't
kill
just
you,
bite you. They beat you. They did whatever. But once they were done, they moved on like that. Mm-hmm. So that's why.
But also in this one, because also another thing, like I said, they don't really tear people apart. But in this one, when the dad gets infected in the beginning, he pretty much holds his ground, and then he gets bitten, and I guess maybe he stands his ground enough to the point where he becomes infected, and then they leave him alone because he gets up, he starts fucking going apeshit, and then he leads them out of the fucking church.
Yeah, I remember that. It was weird.
So because it feels like it almost seems like, especially with the soldiers, before it looked like they just bit them, and as soon as they realized they were infected, they moved on.
I feel like that was the alpha. He dropped down, he bit one, bit the other.
I thought it was multiple of that because I feel like it was two, right? And
I feel like because he looked pretty big, the one that soldier dropped. Unless he took that bullet, fell back, and then went back into that tunnel a different way and attacked them.
Yeah, true,
because he did come up behind them.
True. But I mean, it's
that was Samson, right?
That wasn't Samson. That was a different one.
Well, the one that killed him in the tunnel, was that Samson?
No, that was a different one. A different one. Yeah, no, Samson kind of looked like Jason Momoa. I actually thought it was for 2 seconds. Damn, Jason Momoa's hanging dong in 28 years later.
Yeah, it's
But yeah, no. So when they give birth and stuff, the soldier reacts exactly how Dylan he's just put it down. It could be infected. I'm gonna fucking shoot it right now. He kills the mom because the mom was about to rage out on him.
The mom knocked out after giving birth, which they show the whole birthing scene, which is kind of wild. Just
very.
And
graphic.
then she knocks out, and then jumps up, and then Eric fucking rips her down.
Which also,
none of us would survive the 28-year. I don't know, bro. You and me have a lot of cardio under our belt.
That won't matter. Their cardio is better.
They don't know when to stop.
And they have unlimited stamina. You're fucked.
I'd do my best. I have ammo.
They would. You know what? Try that out.
Actually, how far do you think an infection would? Let's say the infection started online.
I don't think it would get off.
No. Depends how quick they react.
It wouldn't get through Nassau
because it so I don't think
it would make the
mainland infection.
No,
here I think 100%. That's not hard. It's mainland. That's not the bridge is a quarter mile.
What if they just blow the bridges?
If they were smart, they would. But
I don't think it would even get off. Yet.
It's too not too infectious, but it takes you over too quick. That's why I don't think it leaving the UK makes sense. Someone's gonna get on a plane and fucking miraculously not kill everyone on the plane, and the plane's not gonna crash, and it's just gonna handle itself right there. The infection incubation period's way too fast for it to leave wherever it started, in my opinion. Unless, maybe a boat and the boat somehow crashes into mainland and everything runs off the
It's
boat.
possible. Think of almost like kind of plague ships back in the day with plague rats.
True.
Where a boat would just crash on the
But
shore.
I feel like at that point,
didn't that happen in Nosferatu?
NATO
exactly
and all these places would probably be like on point with their radars and be like, yo, we got no signal from this boat. Hit that shit.
During the initial infection, if it spread fast enough, if Britain didn't call for aid or anything to begin with, they tried handling it themselves, and there's still some boats that kind of slip through the cracks. I could see that. But then, once again, that's why 28 weeks later, if they soft retconned it or not, it's just like that's the only way it could have made it to the mainland. Is someone asymptomatic carried it over, like the sun. But once again, I think they left it open to where they could use 28 weeks later. Because you even said it yourself, Don, that if Jeremy Renner hadn't died,
Alex Garland said like he wanted him back. He's like he just loved working with him and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
he produced
a producer.
He was produced it.
But he said like he was a great person to have around, and he loved his character and all that. He was like, if I could get anyone like that, he would obviously be Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Is he good? Is his leg still fucked up?
Oh, he's still kind of fucked up.
He can walk though. Right?
Yeah, I think actually he might not be working with Marvel anymore.
Well, because I remember they were like, he's not going to walk.
No, he's fine to do stuff now. I think he obviously can't do the same shit that he used to. But
also his character's older now, so I don't think anyone's expecting his character.
Yeah, and also they're not. Apparently, they literally like cut his pay or something, and he was putting up stuff like.
Oh, I saw. He was like,
yeah, like so what? Just because like, am I like half an actor now because I got injured or crushed by a car? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, he won't even pay me my normal rate. Like, what the fuck?
You can CGI me doing the action stuff.
I mean, it doesn't matter. MCU's a goddamn mess. But either way, yeah, Alex Garland said that he would have brought him back. So I think they have that soft opening to, like, keep 28 weeks or some of that lore alive. Because even when you look at some of the, like, the stuff on the site that they have up, because I think they're going to just keep updating. Also, there's this weird countdown on it where I thought it was going to end when the movie premieres, but it's still going for something.
Excellent.
Or maybe a trailer drop.
January 19th.
Maybe a trailer drop or something. But what you call it? They show like little things where it almost seems like they talk about them fighting the infection back, and I feel like that's because of what happened in Paris. Check.
Me and Carl might make it to Far East Montauk.
Far East Montauk. I mean, if you were gonna go anywhere, it'd be easier to try and find a boat out east instead of trying to fucking cut through the mainland or try to get through New York City because you'd be fucking.
I'm not going that way.
I think some people. I think there's a bunch.
Bro, I'm going Huntington Bay. Fucking go Connecticut.
Would you guys try to escape or would you try to hunker down?
I would
hunker down for like a month.
I would find a helicopter pilot home hostage.
Where am I? Where at the helicopter store?
You know what? Go to some
at the Home Depot.
Go to some. You know what? I'm going to go on Google Maps now and look for helicopter pads.
All right, do that. See how far that takes you, Mike.
I'm going to invest in a squirrel suit.
I'm going to jump off a building and float my way to safety.
All right, let's see. When you do it, please stream it.
Can you? Yeah, if there's still signals and shit when the apocalypse is happening.
Yeah, we'll pirate YouTube.
It'll be like fucking England where they cut off all the signals because remember the fucking soldier was like, I can't get a signal anywhere here, and just because there's no communication. Nothing.
Why would there be?
Because even if there's someone like snuck a phone on there or something, they don't want that. One of the things they put up on the site is that they are vehemently just trying to keep any communication.
Yeah, there's someone leaking info on the website also, like, hey, like, tell me this, that, and they're like, no, I almost got caught, but I could try. And it's like, don't risk your life if that means that. Like, there's someone like trying to get info off the island because fucked up shit is happening apparently.
Probably crossed.
But it's like they want no communication. Like, they don't want anyone trying to rescue anyone. They don't want anyone trying to reach out to give information about it. They want no one to know anything. And I'll get into theory about that afterwards. But like, at this point, now that they have the baby, Eric gets fucking killed by the Alpha, and now they make their way onto Dr. Kelson, right? That's his name?
Who comes out and saves them with the tranks.
Oh, he fought. I guess one of his biggest scars is he knows that the infected like to get high.
Which I'm like, dude, this guy's just in the woods just making drug cocktails and shit.
And he shows up looking like a fucking lunatic. painted in iodine, but it makes sense when he says it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the infection hates this.
So you are finding things out here. That's good.
You know what it is? What I really liked about his character, because he was probably actually one of my favorite characters in this whole movie. Like they do this thing where what I enjoy is that the people that you think Spike should trust end up really disappointing him and they end up lying to him and shit. And then the one person that everyone keeps saying is this fucking crazy asshole that's just living out there doing crazy shit. He is literally the most calm, the most collected, and very articulate, very polite, and just has an understanding of everything that's going on around him. And he's not, there's no point where you're just like, oh, this guy's going to fucking kill Spike and his mom.
Yeah,
no, he literally is just like, I'll help you if you want.
Out the get-go, like, yeah.
Yeah, and he's just like, I'm just glad that I have fucking company now. And I can talk to you. And he's not crazy about it either. Like, please stay. Like, please hang out with me. No, it's just like, come, rest up. If you need to leave, then leave. And, like, he's very zen about the whole
Carl
thing.
would try and escape from the helicopter store.
Helicopter store. What were you saying, Mike? I forgot. But, yeah, no, I love this character because, like, the whole movie's just kind of like trying to, subvert your expectations about all these characters and stuff. Because you would think that there's going to be some kind of turn with this doctor. And there is a little bit, if you really want to take it that way, but it's still done in like a very tasteful, gentle way. And once again, and you would think that maybe the guy would be like, I can't fucking help you. Like, get out of here. No, he's like, listen, I have no equipment, but I still remember how to do some things to kind of diagnose the mother and shit. And then obviously he finds out that it's cancer. And then when he describes the symptoms, you're like, oh shit, she has lumps all over her body, huh?
Oh yeah, like when he was like, I can tell just by touching you, you are not.
You are very sick. And he's like, yeah, I don't know if it's spread from your body to your brain or your brain to your body, but you have cancer everywhere.
Out the wazoo.
Out the wazoo.
And also, I do appreciate his bedside manner with the kid. He was very, very.
He acted like a good doctor.
Yeah, he was like, there's no medicine. There's nothing we can do or I can do.
Yeah, and the kid reacted Spike acted just the way that you would expect. Just like, look, man, just tell me. I'll go to one of the old hospitals. I'll try and find whatever I can. Like, we can fix this. He's just like, no, man, just relax. And then he calmed him down. He got the kid high.
Oh, he got that kid tripping
so high. He gave him what was his cock, like morphine and some other fucking thing?
Yeah, it was morphine and something else. I forget.
He was an extremely fast actor. And you're like, well, I can see that, Mr. Happy Dart Man. Like, he darted like 4 people in this movie.
Just so you know, if they were zombies, that cocktail wouldn't work.
Oh no,
you're dead.
Well, no, but they aren't zombies.
I know.
But that is something he discovered too, because maybe that's what they could do to actually kill them, like chemical warfare. Because like you blast them with a bunch of gas and like.
Because they were also, when they were in the gas station, you could see the infected slowing down. Like,
they were
what
actually
the fuck?
reacting.
What the fuck is this? And they were trying to like still do their thing, but they were slowing down. They were starting to breathe heavy. They couldn't really catch their breath.
That's what they did to push the infection back.
It's possible.
They just gassed them.
But yeah, and I love that whole bone temple thing. Once again, beautifully shot. This movie.
I was talking to Dylan. You know that he carved the trees for that bones.
Oh, to make the actual things.
All the trees were bones. Like all
the bones were trees.
Yes, so you know what I mean. All the trees he carved into. He didn't stack all the bones of the dead people.
Oh shit!
That's sick. That's cool.
Because if you look, there's a couple shots where some of the ones on the outside are still like fresh, chopped, cut on the top, and you can see that on some of the trees they're not like. There's no space between any of them. It's like they're all coming off.
It could also be possible that maybe that's how they actually did it, and they didn't tighten up some of the effects. Because I think it was supposed to look like that he stacked the bones like
they're all cut.
Because he had like ropes around the bottom to make it look like he was holding bones together.
I think he did that. I think he did that aesthetically, but there was some where it was like that. Because there were totally things hanging that were like weird bone structures, and then there was other.
Yeah, it was like making those weird skulls with the bones sticking out.
But he was definitely carving into the trees because you could see the ones on the outside still had a little bit of bark.
Okay.
And the tops were like, you know, when you can see like a freshly cut tree, it's still like wet. Mm-hmm. There were some of them were like that, and the rest of them were like sun bleached and like petrified looking. Mm-hmm. So I think like the rope thing was like an aesthetic thing because this was like a This was like an art exhibit that he was making.
Oh yeah, I actually
Well,
kind
yeah, it's a tribute to
the
the
dead.
Memento Mori and the dead.
Also, I figured
Infected and-
like the trees would last way longer than stacks of bones tied together with rope, because that shit would just weather away.
Oh, he also said he didn't care if it weathered away. He said that's not the point of this. Because remember, Spike knocks it over. He's like, I don't give a shit.
Which was cool because it literally it's like this is how this guy kind of tried to keep himself sane, doing this insane act of tribute to the dead. And that's why when Spike's dad saw him, when he described the moment where he met the doctor or saw the doctor for the first time, he just saw the bodies the doctor was burning to get the bones to make the bone temple. And it was hundreds of bodies just on the ground that he was picking up and burning. And back then also you saw that he still has his hospital scrubs and shit. And then now he's just this crazy old dude covered in iodine in the woods with like this giant bone structure that no one I don't think has ever seen, because he even said, like, you're the first person I've had the pleasure of explaining this to.
Yeah.
Because he said, I thought I was going to die before I could tell anyone, and it would just kind of just be there, and people would just be kind of like dumbfounded by what that is. But yeah, no, I love this character. I love the whole scene where they're in the Bone Temple, and then eventually, like, they euthanized the mom. And I thought, once again, it was going to be some kind of like weird fucked up thing where he was going to try and she's trying to coerce the mom to get euthanized. No, the mom just like, no, just take me out. And it was all, and he obviously did it very peaceful and stuff.
Yeah, she went real smooth.
Yeah, he probably gave her like twice the amount of fucking
I would say
morphine.
he just shot her with 3 darts.
Yeah.
Like she didn't even know what hit her. She passed that, done.
Yep, and I also like that he had like a whole like archaic method. He was like actually using like a pressure cooker that he did.
Yeah.
Like
to melt the flesh off. And then he like cleaned it off, and then he like bleached it off.
Yep, and then he did this. There's a whole process that he does, and once again at this point too, like Spike, he's taken his arc because he's been protecting his mom, running from infected. Like he was talking with the soldier, he was like learning things, and at this point now you see that like because when he goes off with the mom, Dr. Kelsey, he comes back with her skull. And he goes, hey, put her up on the thing and give her a good spot. The kid is not
The best spot.
The best spot.
Imagine he's like, we could have at least talked about this.
What if I wanted to bury her?
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like
that part, because that's where I mean it's kind of like a turn, because it's like he just took it upon himself to number one say, hey, all right, I'm gonna kill your mom now, and then we're just gonna do this with her body now, just so you know. And even though he didn't really tell him, he just drugged him up. Tell him, hold this baby. I'll be back with your dead mom.
Yeah, real good thing. Give a kid on drugs, a baby near a fire,
a possibly infected baby.
Well,
and not only that, but like I said, when you would expect Spike when he gets like the skull to like be like, what the fuck, man? Why did you do it? He just like, nope. He totally accepted it at that point and just kind of put her up on the Bone Temple.
Really smart how he like kangarooed her skull, the sweater. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, so you can climb.
All right, that's actually really smart.
Yeah, this thing has actually a pretty good, like, even though it's like, what's it called? There's the 2 what the fuck moments to me at this point so far were, number one, just that whole introduction of the fat slow walkers or infected, and then the pregnancy.
Yeah, the pregnancy was I was like, whatever, evolution, things do it. Whatever, I'm gonna let it be.
Once again,
the pregnancy really fucked me up.
That would put it over for me.
Yeah.
Not it being pregnant, just I don't care about it being pregnant. I don't care about the birth. I don't care about it not being infected. Just the whole like the holding hands and that whole sequence. I'm just like,
could have literally just shot her in the head. She fell down and
the baby slid out.
I'm like, that would have solved all this and made it not goofy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was goofy. And it's just like, and just so you could have this moment where literally, I assume it's because it's like, it's that goofy. Yeah.
I know.
I would say that.
I said this is only the second what the fuck moment.
Oh, no, well, yeah, no. I know the one that you're going to say.
Yes.
That one, I'm like, am I watching an after-school cartoon right now?
We'll get to it. We're almost there. But at this, I think one of the funniest things, even though it's not supposed to be super funny, easy, relax, man. I know we're almost done with the movie. And is when Samson comes running into the encampment and he has his own little bunker and shit. But Samson went directly for them, and I'm like, it can smell the baby. like it knows where the baby
I
is.
think that's what it is.
I think it can sense the baby.
No, that's why the doctor told him to, like, maybe you should be on your way.
Yeah, basically the doctor just said,
Like,
kindly, get the fuck
Oh
out
yeah,
of
he
here.
could sense the baby, so go back to your community and fuck your community.
He doesn't care. He's just like, I just don't want to get fucking skull fucked by Samson.
I thought he was going to get pulled through that hole and like bent in half.
I know. I thought that too. I'm like, oh fuck, are they gonna kill the doctor
There
now?
goes the explanations. But then that kid would have never lived. Like if the doctor died, there's no way that kid would have escaped. Like,
and then but yeah, the doctor pretty much said, maybe you should probably go back home with the baby.
I do like that he just like drug Samson again. Like Samson's like they get fucked up.
What if Samson's actually just attacking? He's like, if I attack, I'm just gonna get high.
Oh my god, he knows. It's like when the deers eat the fermented fruit.
Oh yeah, he's like,
oh,
if I attack this guy, he's gonna get me high. He's getting high.
Oh my god,
that'd be hilarious. But like, no, man, it's actually kind of funny because you just once you see like the arms go limp after they drug him, you're snoring.
Dude, yeah, he's like, oh, sweet tranquilizer.
Just like Adventure Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the shit.
Yeah, no, he was definitely like. When he shot him with the dart initially, I was like, is this some sort of like super zombie killer like thing? And then he didn't go down. I'm like, is he fucking high? Like, yeah, he is. He's morphed up right now.
And he's like,
he's got the fen fade.
He has the fen fade.
Oh my god. Yeah,
and
no,
you know,
and he was like,
I also love how he actually didn't like fall down and collapse. Like he's so fucking strong and so enraged out that he just stands upright.
Crazy. He took the head out of his hand too.
Yep. So
and I was like, wow, you've definitely done this before. You know that there's like.
Well, because it's to the point where he's named him.
You was gonna say, you think like a regular one would die from the dart?
No, I think it would go down for a while though.
Would that like drop, right?
Oh yeah, I think it would drop, but no, not.
Well, actually,
not
you know
the
that
alphas.
makes it pretty easy to kill him at that point.
Yeah,
Just,
I mean,
crush their head.
it is possible that's how they fought back. They tranked them and then they just tried to cleanly dispose them.
That would be a little bit easier to
no, but he doesn't want to kill them.
Yeah,
he's literally made his whole speech how he cherishes life and death and all this shit. Like he's not out there to kill them.
He's almost kind of like
them.
A monk, like
he
out
did
there.
his thing and like wild that he survived out there because like his little thing was protected by like a little shit stream that you could walk across. But like
I was gonna say, like,
I mean, he also probably keeps to himself. He's very quiet.
He probably like stays in that bunker like 23 hours a day.
That too, because also I would imagine the fire would probably attract him too.
Yeah.
But like, it's funny too because I mean we're getting to the end at this point, but it's like I feel like if this actually was animated to be like a Miyazaki movie, this actually reminded me a lot of that. Like granted, it's because even then the goofiness and stuff would actually kind of play into it if it was animated.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's what I kind of pictured. This is a very Miyazaki style of like plot and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed that. Because at this point now, then Spike takes the baby back to his village, but now they get into this whole montage because they bring back the old theme song and shit like that. Which, by the way, I love that they brought in like that little singing part from East Hastings to start off the theme song. Yeah. And you know, basically monologuing, "Hey, Dad."
I actually was in the movie theater. Yes. And like Juan was like, "What?"
And I do like that they stuck with the East Hastings version because like the 28 weeks later kind of just went into like the studio version of that song where it's just like the high pitch points, but they built it up again, which is really cool. And it's just Spike basically monologuing, going, "Hey, Dad, here's this baby. Please take care of her. I named it after my mom. I'm gonna go out and explore the world. I'll come back when I feel like coming back." And once again, at this point, we're getting so close to the end, and it's just he's like, you see him. It's been a little while now. 28 days later, they say, and he's out in the world. He's fishing for food.
He grew a beard. He's making a fish.
He's shooting down infected pretty easily now. And you could
you only see the one scene where he takes.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, he's not shaking anymore. He's not freaked out anymore. He's like his dad. He's very calm. And he's just like, bam, got him. And then when he sees more coming, all right, I got a bolt, and he fucking runs. I thought that was really good. And
how great was this scene at like my buddy Arturo? I saw the movie with him, and he was like sitting here, was like, "Yo, why do I feel like I saw that exact scene before?" It's like, because it synced up so well with when Jim left the hospital and he gets chased, and then Selena and Mark save him. It's literally like the way they cut the angles, the way how they angle like the cameras and shoot the scenes of him escaping and this going on, like it's the same vibes. Like it's all that like 420p vibe, and it's like you feel like you're watching that first sequence that made you fucking fall in love with 28 Days Later to begin with, and it's just awesome.
And then they could have ended it because he kills that one infected, and they could have just ended it right there. But they don't. So I don't know whose decision this was. I don't know why they did this.
Yeah.
I don't know what the thought process was in this.
I mean, I know. I did all the research. I understand it now. I still completely disagree with it, and it needs to be a post-credits scene.
Yes. This would have worked better as either a post-credit scene.
Have you done any? Do you know anything about it, or are you just still sitting here like, why are the Power Rangers?
I was like, where's Rita Repulsa?
All right, yeah.
Like, why are you guys doing these after-school flips?
So let's go break down.
So
We got Jimmy Castle.
God. So
I would have liked if just Jimmy showed up.
So for some fucking reason, after this whole emotional ending with like Spike finally killing this one.
Oh look.
Oh, Ed. Oh, wow.
He's the doctor.
But no, that's not him. That's a different guy.
No, that's
him.
That's not him.
No, that's not.
No, that's not Voldemort.
That's not him.
Is that the guy who plays the Chief's
Husband?
boyfriend?
Yes. Sorry, King Kong's
Moving
in the
on.
background
This
right
is why
now.
we should not have TV.
Well, also it was playing something else. Either way, regardless. So it could have ended right there with just him killing that last infected, and could have cut the credits. And then all of a sudden you hear someone say something like, "Hey, do you mind if we step in?" And you see this guy that looks like kind of like the albino from Judge Dredd that ran the computers and stuff. He also kind of looks like the bad guy from Hardcore Henry. He's just kind of this blonde albino kid.
He came from like the Korn music video.
He looks like a future pimp.
He looks like
his whole speed.
Yep, and he also looks like what you call it, someone from Children of the Damned. Basically, just this really pale dude with long hair.
What he really looks like is Jimmy Savile,
which no one in America has any
right,
reference
but this
to.
isn't in American movies, so that's not.
I understand that, but it is our problem. Okay,
Who the fuck
here's
did
what.
Jimmy say?
Let it finish talking about the scene so I can explain these things.
So basically, this guy goes, "Hey, can we step in?" And then all of a sudden, all of these other people that kind of look like him, dressed in different colored tracksuits, all, by the way, how are they this pristine and clean and shit, just start jumping in and start literally Power Rangers fighting all the infected that are coming through. And literally, like, it's a complete tone shift. They start playing this crazy death metal music.
Do you know what the music was?
What was that?
It was the Teletubbies theme song.
Just on death metal style?
Yeah, so you start the movie off with this happy Teletubby theme song. Then you end the movie off with this Teletubby theme song with all the kids wearing the same fucking clothes that were wearing the Teletubby clothes in the beginning, except they are all wearing wigs, so it's obviously not the same kids. But they're wearing the same fucking outfits.
Dylan, that doesn't excuse this.
That was good.
Why? Because that's what they grew up with, and
No,
that's
Dylan.
when their culture ended, so that's the last
This
thing
is
they
what I'm talking.
remember.
This is what I'm talking about. Why, if a movie needs supplemental material to make sense, it has failed. This scene failed because it comes out of nowhere. We have no reference to this except for when you find out that the ringleader is Jimmy, because you see the cross. You say he says that his name is Jimmy. Hey, let's be friends, and that's when they cut the movie. But the thing is, you have no context. I couldn't pick up that was the fucking Teletubbies theme. I just heard this crazy death metal music that you would play in a Hatchet movie. And you just see these guys going crazy, yelling, karate kicking, doing backflip.
Very caught off guard, and we couldn't pay attention.
That doesn't make it good.
The second time was a lot easier to pick up on.
No, it didn't. I watched it a second time and it was like, nope, this is just as goofy as the first time I saw it. This was not a good ending.
So
this was complete.
It is not a good ending.
No.
I don't agree with it, but
no,
it is portraying a famous individual named Jimmy Savile, who is essentially, I'm going to do like a very abridged version of this. He's like the Mr. Rogers of Britain or the UK with a Bill Cosby background.
Yes, that's actually a good way to
So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He actually has a few documentaries.
I actually listened to one. We were driving someplace. He is fucked up.
He
basically did whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had the most fucked up writers, as you would call it. Like when you go somewhere, you like demand something. Not like demand, but you would want these like things to happen. His demands was, I need a leisure. He's like, I need 6 of the youngest girls you could get me and tents to sleep in out back and bodyguards. And like, this is like this shit that this guy would like have going on.
Is there stories about him going to like wards in the hospital?
Yes,
like,
he volunteered as an orderly in the hospital for some reason to like.
He got super wasted and fondled people while they were like strapped to beds and shit.
Yeah, he like did it like on. There's like scenes of him like making people extremely uncomfortable by the way he was like touching them and shit on like TV. But he was like rich, donated ridiculous money, and was well connected, so no one said shit to him.
He had a lot of charities, and also his show was kind of like a Make-A-Wish thing for kids, where he'd be like, a kid would write him something, they would say what their wish was, and then he would, if the thing requested, he would be present, but they would try to make this wish come true, and eventually they would have celebrities come in and do some help with him and do things with him so that he would make these kids feel better that wrote to him. But yeah, no, he had a really fucked up past, which kind of also solidifies one of Dylan's other theories, because not only did they kill a bunch of the infected, you see them hog tie and capture a female.
Yes, so this is where my super, super dark theory comes from, that it wasn't the alpha's child, and that the Jimmies are fucked up. And this is where some Clockwork Orange shit comes in, because they kill all the infected. Now, the last one might have been dead. I don't know. But the last one they string up and hang upside down, and it is a female that they hang up. And that's when they do their huzzah pose and then introduce themselves.
Real quick.
Okay, it's gone. Oh, you lost it? Usually it's me that has a lot of these.
I was just like, I'm just thinking about the scene again and again. Oh, wait, no. He would totally get infected if he was fucking infected.
Chat says you look sleepy. We should let you get to bed.
Oh, I'm the dabs catching up. Like,
and once again, it's usually me that's like this. But
we've also been going for like
it doesn't make sense.
2 hours
you
now.
Would totally get infected.
Well, this is where I think maybe
he might be like immune or something.
So without a doubt, that the asymptomatic storyline stays. Because they were using fucking weapon. Like when that dude, like I don't know what it was, because it was a lot of flash.
That string saw?
Yeah, they like string sawed a mother. Bro, the first thing that came to my head was Clockwork Orange. He's like, just like
a tree saw.
Yeah, but they used some wild shit.
Yeah, it was.
But that wasn't even like a tree saw. The guy had it like as almost like a Daredevil thing. It was like a baton. He unraveled it and then he just started sawing. Like they had like literal Power Ranger weapons.
But it was like really, really violent Power Rangers.
Yeah, it was like albino Power Rangers. Like they were crazy looking, and like that scene when you see it, you're just like complete. You can even see Spike. He was reacting like the audience was just like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, it was like you're watching a 28 Days Later movie, because honestly, like the majority of this movie, aside for a couple of things, that I'm kind of like, what the fuck? But I'm also going to reserve a lot of my possible like negative thoughts on it for this next movie that's coming out, because I'm hoping there'll be some like infected lore dumps where we'll understand why certain things are happening. But I went on there and I forgot where I started.
Wow, you guys, that was the one that wasn't on point last time. But I mean, like you were saying, Dylan, like you were watching this 28 Days Later movie, and I think what you're trying to say was, and then they kind of shoved this thing.
Oh, right. You're watching 28 Days Later, and then you fucking end with Shaun of the Dead, and you're like, what the fuck?
It's a complete tone shift. Like the entire, like once again, it ends almost perfectly, and then
thank you, channel.
I gotta be real with you.
I do not rap on SoundCloud.
What the fuck? Who's asking this?
That's hilarious. I honestly,
but I'll take it,
dude. That the ending was so weird. I was kind of expecting Spike to like wake up at the campfire, like and the fish is gone, and like he's like, I was weird. Like I would expect. It was so weird.
I mean, I'd still be like, what the fuck? But like, okay, I guess that was a dream. Weird choice.
Dream. Like at least it was
just
a dream.
dreamt about his Power Ranger.
And that's the thing too. The
And they
reference to the
connected
Power
to
Ranger.
the Power Ranger in the beginning.
That's what I'm saying because he had a Power
They
Ranger
don't
figure.
connect it, but
No, but it's like, what if in the next movie that's what kind of endears him to them? You know what I mean?
I'm so kind of upset that the next movie's tone is just going to be like
All over the place, probably.
a Clockwork Orange.
Because
like,
here's the thing, I will
Like
say
Power
this.
Rangers Orange.
Because it feels like Alex Garland and Danny Boyle in this, they're kind of having fun with experimenting with things. Because the way the camera work was, when those weird panorama shots when things were getting killed, the weird cuts they had in between.
I think those were the iPhone shots.
Yes, they were absolutely. That's absolutely
weird
what that
slow
was.
motion shots.
Yes, that's absolutely what that was.
Which I kind of dig them.
No, I thought
think
it was
they're cool. But I definitely was like, "What the fuck is happening?" At first, I was like, "What?"
It felt like they kind of jammed in an iPhone commercial in the middle of the movie, which I mean,
we are all friends.
Are we?
Yes. Well,
Dylan
why are you talking this like it's an AI or something, dude?
I don't know. Dylan tried to hit us.
I go
in
like
the back.
robot. Listen, you guys didn't make me as mad as I thought you guys would.
Well, because I thought it was
Listen, this guy made me. He was like, "Yo, Mike hated this fucking movie," and then this one's getting the bad. Talking about rubber tread on boots. What the fuck? Get the fuck out of here!
All of their shoes were falling apart. There's not a collar to be found.
28 shoes later.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, no.
But yeah, no. Well, here's the thing. I enjoyed, like I said, I think I told Dylan this. I told everybody this who asked me about it. I liked 85% of this movie. Like I said, what the fuck moments. You need to explain those fucking slow ones. You need to explain the fucking pregnancy. Yeah. That whole pregnancy scene was goofy as fuck because of the whole hand holding thing. I get you want to do this whole, hey, we're mothers, you have each other's backs or whatever the fuck that was. But that was goofy as all fuck. And then also, not for nothing, it did get a little tropish because it's like you've seen a lot of apocalypse movies where they find a baby and then all these other things where they have to get to one part A to part B. And I already kind of knew how this movie was going to play out. Once it started establishing itself, like, okay, he's going to get the mother to the doctor. He's going to find out it's a terminal disease and the doctor can't help him, depending on whether the doctor's an asshole or not, whatever. And then after that, the baby, when it gets introduced, I'm like, he's going to take the baby back to the village. And I didn't think he was going to actually go back to the village. Yeah. I always assumed he was going to drop the baby off and then he was going to go back out there to look for something. I don't know what, but he said he was just going to explore. Yeah. Like, I could predict what was going to happen once it established the plot and I saw the tropes coming in.
I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of like complaints that there's such a basic story, this and that. And I'm like, listen, we are in the year 2025. What year did we start making movies? And tell me what original storyline you can come up with at this point. It's just how you write it at this point.
It's all...
And if you do a good job at expositioning it and everything else adds up, like, cool. Who gives a fuck?
You can do a mock-up or an homage to whatever, as long it's all on the delivery. And this movie was beautifully shot. I actually really like the soundtrack choices in this.
I said, I don't enjoy that they picked it, but it works. Like, and also, it does well. It does. I really wanted more of the atmospheric music because, like, dude, I listen to that shit on my way to work on a normal day. Like, I just love that shit.
Yeah.
But it went well with the movie. It kind of gives you like this weird, uneasy feeling anyway.
And they do a good job with stuff like that. Like, whatever feeling they want to elicit out of you in that moment, they get it out of you. The anxiety, they get it out of you. I remember the first time I saw it, and granted I was lit out of my head, like I took a fucking huge bomb before I went in, but like a lot of the jump scares, they actually got me. Like when, like you remember when like in the beginning where you see Jimmy.
The cat got me pretty good.
The cat, Jimmy, when he presses his head up against the door, you know it's coming. You know it's coming, but still they got me with that. And then like I said, that entire scene was anxiety inducing. Same thing with everything else after that. The shot beautifully, and also not for nothing, the landscapes and the set designs and stuff were really cool. And also, I like some of the lore they had. The only thing is, like, you know, like Mike said, maybe they could have had some melee weapons and stuff like that, just to make
or at least something.
You know, because I feel like it's still like I know they have this doctrine, and
I mean we're about to see a whole another community with melee weapons and see how this group of people survives, and like, so I guess like. What do you think and what do you want from the next movie?
Okay, number one, I need answers to a lot of these questions I already have about the why the infected are the way that they are, why obviously Jimmy is the way that Jimmy is, and yeah, I also hope they don't expand this to the point where it becomes. You ever seen the sequel to Train to Busan, where it just gets ridiculous?
Yes.
I hope it just doesn't do that.
What was it?
Train to Busan.
Yeah,
That
it
was
was
such a bad
Peninsula or something,
Don't.
right?
It's Fast and Furious.
It's literally Fast and Furious zombies. I'm not kidding.
It's fucked.
It's really bad, and it's
They're
like
driving cars.
Yes, not the zombies, but they're like racing to do things to accomplish.
and like Tokyo
goals.
drifting and shit. Like it's not.
Has challenges.
It completely undercuts anything the first movie did.
It's Land of the Dead with cars.
Yes, thank you. That's what I'm hoping for. That this was pushing very close to that Land of the. I don't get me wrong. I like Land of the Dead, but I also like bad movies, and I like that as a bad movie. But this one, it was getting very close, especially with the pregnancy thing and those evolutions in the infected, and then finally with that goddamn Power Ranger scene, where I'm like, this is getting very close to that goofy Land of the Dead level of goofiness, where I don't want that from this movie, and I hope it doesn't translate more into it like that. I hope they kind of just did that to shock you, and then in the next movie it goes back to the same kind of atmospheric feel. Just explain why this goofy Power Ranger thing is happening and make it make sense, because there's a lot of theories to this, and so far, yeah, it makes sense. This kid, he got stunted because this is the level of culture that he knows. He knows this kids guy. He knows the Teletubbies. He might actually know what the Power Rangers are. So this is his level of understanding of the world, and he is kind of latched onto that through his trauma. It just doesn't make sense that it happened like this at the end of the movie and the way that they presented it. Because also at the same time, you look at the tracksuits, dude. Why are they so clean? They were so fucking clean, and that's what bothered me the most out of that
I'm
too.
hoping we get the answers for. It's something new. It's a new. I don't know. There's whatever.
Maybe it shows you they're bad
So
actors.
channel. Yes, to get back to your previous question, I'm pretty excited for Doctor Doom. I think
Oh, for
we
Avengers?
all are.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the last few movies they put out were not as entertaining, but it's kind of like it's getting back there.
What was the last one that put out? Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see
heard-
that yet.
I heard it was good. A
I
lot of people
also
say it's
just
good.
finished the Daredevil show. That was fucking sick.
Well, Daredevil was.
I heard Frank Castle will be
in the new Spider-Man.
reprising Punisher in the new Spider-Man,
And in
which is gonna be
Doomsday.
awesome.
I don't know. I'm hoping that it's good, man. Like I was really looking forward to Kang, and then obviously Jonathan Majors.
I heard they're talking about recasting him already because fuck it.
Oh, he got acquitted, and I'm pretty sure the woman took back everything that she said.
We're reviewing 28 Years Later channel, so I don't know. I mean, we pretty much finished everything.
we have to still give the ratings.
But we're still going to be talking a little bit. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'd come back later because we are still going to be talking about a couple more things.
And also, if you see the movie, watch this like afterwards once it gets uploaded and stuff. Just because like this whole thing was spoiler filled. Just this is a heads up. But yeah, no. In terms of rating for this movie,
I'm not doing our basic. I'm going to a 10.
You're going to a 10. For
What do you?
So that's to take my money. That's to take my money movie.
Yeah, but there's points and all that. What's your initial rating with the ending?
Initial
I give it an 8.5.
Are you talking about after first viewing or?
No, even after my second view, I did not change my score. I just have an understanding of it now. My score still stayed at 8.5.
Okay, for me, like it number one, it made me lock in. Okay, yeah, these parts I really do enjoy, but the what the fuck parts definitely still stuck out to me. For me, what you call it? Well, for our rating system, you know what?
I would still be take my money without a doubt. I'm take my money.
It did buy. Whoa! That ending really, because I said that before. Like I had a rating for it. I was on the fence, but that ending just kind of Spartan kicked it into just like.
Yeah, but you saw it twice.
I did.
You can't say you're not going to.
No, well, I also did that for the review. Okay, and also this is a big deal in terms of a zombie franchise. I was gonna see this probably twice. I tried seeing it 3 times, but I didn't have time the other night.
Thank you very much, Chad.
Well, you know what?
Appreciate
I'll say this then. Just because I did like 85% of it, and also the landscapes and all the way it's shot is so beautifully done. I would say take my money, go see it in the theater. I'll say this though, as a kind of, if you want to undercut it a little bit, see it as a matinee. Go when you have to pay like half price or something, or go on AMC's. I think they're doing Dollar Wednesdays now. If you can do that, do that. But you know what? If you can find a way to discount the price of this movie, then go.
Yeah, pretty much what you said. Like,
okay.
I don't know.
Because I mean, I did
out
enjoy
of 10. Out of 10, what would you guys give this movie?
Out of 10.
After the ending,
I
was
okay.
gonna say like a 7.5.
I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna say like an 8.
Now, if it didn't have that ending, or if that ending was a post-credit scene,
get a full point ball.
That would be it.
I would give it a 9.1.
Take my money.
This movie would have been a 9.1 if that ending was a post-credit.
Yeah, absolutely a 9.
8.5. 8.5.
No, I'll say 9. I'll say 9.
If it wasn't the ending and it just ended with him doing whatever.
Because here's the thing, that the pregnancy was goofy and I didn't like the slow ones, but those I could take to like they'll explain it in the next movie.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. I'm kind of holding.
But that ending,
here.
Man, once again, it literally almost Spartan kicked it into the just fucking stay your ass at home.
I'm gonna say this. I'm a huge fan of like. I'm like kind of like I'll watch it and love it no matter what it comes down to, like Halloween, Scream, and honestly most zombie movies I'll probably just end up on. But I will say, watching Scream, what was it? 6 was the last one? They're not. Yeah, they're at 6. So Scream 6 when they're in New York City, and then Halloween Kills. I'll even say Halloween Ends. And now those movies had me feeling really like empty and like very disappointed. And this movie, I didn't feel that way. I was still very happy with everything. It's just that ending was like,
Yeah, like I said, it almost like Spartan kicked it into a way lower rating. But like you said, if it didn't have that ending, or if it was even a post-credit scene,
and it's fucked up because we're saying the ending, and it is literally like 2 minutes out of an hour and 55-minute movie. And so you're like, it's so hard to like drop a movie like a whole fucking scale because of 2 minutes.
It's literally like
it really fucked up.
It's like the last little leg of the race, and you just trip real bad.
Yeah,
and
you're celebrating too early, and like someone runs right past you.
Exactly.
And then it's just it hurts more because like in 6 months to the day, like literally to the day, in 28 weeks today.
Really?
Yeah,
it's 28 weeks till
so the next movie comes out in 28 weeks today, and I have to think about the Power Rangers for 28 weeks and know that I'm going to watch Clockwork Orange, Power Rangers for probably like at least half a movie.
Now, Dylan, remember, it all depends on the execution.
Yes.
Now, if
they're wearing wigs, so they might not always be this like kooky.
Here's the thing, like Jesus Christ. Because here's the thing, man, they could have just done that just to be. Because I could see Alex Garland being like, all right, just to be a bit of an asshole, I'm just going to do this just to kind of fuck with them at the very end, just to shock you and show you what's probably going to come. And then when you see, once again, he's very good at giving you one thing, making you think it's this, and then it turns into something else. So this could turn into something cool in the next movie, which I am hoping is the case.
I swear to God, if
they shit the bed in the next movie,
if they bring Spike back, and you got Cillian Murphy sitting on some throne with the crown on, wearing like a multicolored rain jacket, I'm walking out. If he's like King Jimmy,
I don't think I've seen
you're ruining this for me.
More like Boner Temple.
What? That just sounds like you're aroused by the temple, Mike.
Oh yeah, I was talking to someone I work with. Having fun conversations with him, but he was like, yeah, maybe like those people will be connected to the Bone Temple. I was like, I swear to fucking God, they better not be. I hope their like purpose is to destroy the Bone Temple, and that's their side story at least.
The movie starts, they immediately get killed.
That'd be actually hilarious.
Amazing. All right, well, Cillian Murphy just shoots them all in the head. No, you're coming with me.
Yeah, Those people are out of
Imagine though.
those people are out of their fucking minds. Did you see them? They do the flips.
I could absolutely see Alex Rowan going like, all right, they do this like little intro where they like he's traveling with them, and then literally at the end of that, Cillian Murphy comes out, kills them all, and just like, yeah, those guys are fucking insane. Just come with me, and we're gonna fucking go higher.
Just so you know, they were going to kill him too. Like,
and it's god damn it just once again, if it didn't have that ending, it would have definitely just been absolutely fucking take my money. But that ending, man, like that really killed it a little bit. So I'm hoping, man, because they have a different director for the next one.
Yeah,
I think
Nika DaCosta, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think she did the new Candyman.
She did.
Okay, so and not for nothing, that was actually a pretty good movie too.
But that was also another like
reboot
division. It's like you got 28 Days Later, which didn't really define the zombie world. It fucking reinvented it and made it come back to life and all this. All right, that's not coming from this movie. The zombie culture is not coming back to life from this movie.
Oh no,
it's still chilling where it's at. Nothing's moving.
Well, here's the thing: you're never gonna touch that first one, and I wasn't expecting that level. Here's the thing, and
it could have almost been that level.
Here's the thing. So the best way I could say, did you guys like it better than 28 Weeks? No.
Yeah.
I would have if it wasn't for that
better
ending.
Because still, when I watched 28 Weeks Later, which still has probably a lot of action in it and a lot going on, the movie's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just watched it a couple of days ago. Like, I made Dana watch everything with me. And I'm sitting here, I'm like...
I was just talking about this. I was like, how much time was this Dana?
Should not... We've started all of them multiple times, but we officially finished all of them, like, right before we saw it.
Yeah.
So she actually has not seen... She's definitely seen, like, Halloween and that shit, like, 400 times.
I was going to say, I feel like that's just on in your house.
I watch Halloween H2O.
Yeah, it's just on.
Oh my god!
What? That's like Predator here.
It's how you guys have these shits on in the background. I put this on in the background when I'm playing video games.
When Roadhouse is on something, it's on like every night.
Oh, we should definitely put that on.
Is Roadhouse on something?
We could probably find that. Anyway,
Andrew, can you see if Roadhouse is on something?
28 Eternity Later.
Yes.
I mean, look, I hope the next movie is at least just as good as this one.
Well, it needs to be because I need a third one.
You think there'll be more or the same amount of dogs?
More.
Probably more. Because obviously it created a buzz. They're definitely gonna add.
He's like, all right, they like the dongs.
Little side thing that all these movies have kind of kept with. They're very like impactful with their zombie movements or infected moments. But there's only like 6. There's never like more than 6 infected a scene, and they fucking hit hard.
Well,
it's great.
I think 6 is like a reasonable number.
Well, you go to like Walking Dead, or you go to this shit, and it's always overwhelming.
They're slow.
Yeah, whatever. World War Z.
Yeah.
But this movie has held like that same level of anxiety, even with a growing budget, where they could have.
But in the original one, they only had enough to have a few. So
but that's what I'm saying. They've had a growing budget, and they've chosen not to do that, and they still keep the same level.
Just seeing 6, and that's how much you get from 6 or 7. You could only imagine there were more. Like you're already fucked with 6.
Well, I mean, I guess that's partially what Dylan's saying too. It leaves it up to the imagination.
They've had this growing budget, but they still use the same. You've been talking over me, and we're talking about the same shit.
I definitely thought you were just talking negatively about it.
No, I'm saying it's amazing that they've had this growing budget. Each movie has had a bigger and bigger budget, and they still hit the same like satisfactory feeling with the same amount of zombies. They've never grown it. They've used the same amount. Like they've never gone above and beyond and done this huge like theatrical like.
Yeah, they haven't. They never turned this into a blockbuster.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They've always kept that kind of indie vibe. Even probably the most produced feeling that I felt was 28 Weeks Later, where it almost kind of went there. Because like that was probably the most you would see the more infected. Like there was probably
there was a lot of people.
Maybe at most like 30 you would see in a grouping, until it spreads out, and then it's just the dad leading his, which could have been the first alpha right there, just leading these like maybe 8 or 9 with him at the time.
Yeah, you're probably right because he's the one that like.
That's what I'm saying. Like I
Because
don't
you said,
think
once they lock onto something, they don't fucking stop.
Yeah.
They locked onto the kids. He's like, I'm not going to stop chasing you.
Yeah, and it's like
they shouldn't retcon that.
that's what I'm saying. I think they still leave it open. Maybe they kind of were just like, we are gonna word it in this way, so if we don't go back to it, we basically retcon. We could say we retcon it, but if we want to go back to it, which I think they will to a certain point, because my theory for this is like, because with the whole looking at the website and stuff like that, you kind of get this this kind of bigger picture where this might be a conspiracy thing where, okay, they have this island, right? And they quarantined the shit out of it because they fought it back, whatever. But now they don't want communication between anyone because they could probably go into the island, do what they did in 28 weeks later and clear it out with whatever, but they just won't do it because they might be using this as kind of like, hey, we're testing things here. Just so we could hone, because a lot of the things in the comic book and stuff is about the military trying to weaponize it.
Fucked up shit.
So it's possible they're quarantining this area, making it seem they're doing it for safety, but in reality, that's why the variants are popping up and and all this other things, and why there's an alpha or why these zombies are able to get pregnant and things, because they're kind of watching this thing evolve, and maybe they're introducing things here and there to tweak and make and hone it in and stuff just to test it in this one island. In like in a closed environment.
Maybe they've been catching some and doing things to them and releasing them.
Yeah, and like in the supplemental material, once again, like it was better for me to do this after I saw the movie because it's like, oh, I remember that. Oh, okay, it doesn't really spoil anything. But if you need supplemental material for that ending, just to find out this whole backstory with the kids show host and all that other stuff, that was a little too much.
I don't know if it's like, I don't want to say that supplemental, like the website stuff, as just like.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
If they put someone out there that looked like.
No, you're right.
A character we knew, it's just our culture. We don't know that culture.
No,
I did the deep diving because I was just thoroughly upset and I needed to understand why that happened.
But that's also why this kind of doesn't hold the candle to the first, because the first one transcended all of that.
You didn't need to do it.
Yeah, you need to do anything. Except maybe like the only thing you could say is like, oh, I don't know those name brand snacks that they're eating and stuff. That's about it. Like
maybe they want to find those snacks.
Exactly. I want to know what a Maltese is.
But I don't know who this man in purple is. And then when you find out, you're like, I don't want to know this. Why did I have to find out?
And it's also like, once again, I'm like, why did they bring this back in at the very, very end? Like, did you really need? Maybe that's what it was. They really need to tie in the beginning again, like sandwich it in like they do with all the other movies. Like, but I don't know. I didn't.
Honestly, they could have just had him throw a fucking spear or an arrow at one of them that almost got spiked, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm Jimmy." The movie ends.
Yeah.
No,
not
that weird.
Maybe throw some mud on the tracksuit so it looks dirty.
It reminded me of the fucking.
They're all named Jimmy.
Yeah, they're all Jimmys.
Oh my god! Do you remember in Dragon Ball Z there was like those goofy dudes that do all the weird poses?
Yeah, the Ginyu.
That's what I got.
Oh shit! Yeah, that is exactly what that is.
Major Ginyu vibes from them. I was like, these people are ridiculous. What are they doing?
But yeah, that's my theory that. Maybe you find out later at the end that they are actually closing this out just so they could test this virus to perfect it. And because, like I was saying before, on the website, he's conversing with someone from some private company, or he's talking to some private company or something. So maybe they have a stake in the research that's happening there. So
did you see that movie?
I just hope they don't Hunger Games this either, or like Maze Runner, where they just kind of make it this whole evil conspiracy thing. Don't put it out in the universe, man. Don't YA this, all right? Don't make this a young adult film.
Was it Netflix that put out Turbo Kid?
Yeah, it was Turbo Kid.
Yeah, some people were saying they got very Turbo Kid at the end.
That's exactly. Actually, you know what? I was just thinking like, oh, this is kind of like, are they trying to throw in some Judge Dredd here? Some goofy Judge Dredd?
Oh, my God.
Alex Garland did do that. But anyways.
He did the Special Stallone one?
No, not the Special
I was like, that's what, Goofy?
I mean, if they continued on with the Judge Dredd series, they do have goofy characters kind of like that in the comics. Okay. You know what I mean? But they have more.
The robotic hillbillies.
Yeah, they have crazy shit like that. But anyways, all right, I think that's it, right? You guys.
Yeah, leave in the comments what you guys thought about the movie, your opinions on everything, what you think might come of the next movie, what you thought about that ending. You thought it should have been a post-credit scene or just not exist at all.
You know.
I really hope that
because that post-credit scene was also just like, what the fuck too.
Wait, there was post credit scene.
Yeah, it was like
Remember
0.5 seconds. It was like a
We waited a little bit.
we waited.
Wait, at the very, very end?
yeah, it's a flash of Spike's face and like black and reds and like the world's on fire, and that's it.
We didn't see that.
No, we didn't say that long.
It's like a very, but I mean like subliminal flash, and then it's like right back to nothing. Like that was it.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, because you know what's funny? I waited the second view. I'm like, maybe there's a post-credit scene that explains some of
We
it.
were all waiting.
I told
Yeah.
everyone in my second viewing, it was like, guys, there's really nothing, and like no one believed me. They all did. I was like, fine.
All right, but anyways, that's gonna be it from us.
Oh my god.
Thank you for
All right,
everyone that
all.
actually watched.
Have a great night. Thank you.
We should put our Jimmy into this movie as Jimmy.
I did make the meme already.
That would have been so much better if Jimmy just showed up.